Good afternoon and welcome back to DR Sports. You know what time it is, of course. It's that time of the week again, the Saturday Football Show. Myself, AGT, Matty Renton, Matisse, and of course, Laurie to my right. Round of applause for everyone involved. How are we, gents? Are we all good?
Yeah,
good stuff.
Very good.
Very
As
good.
you can imagine, I'm doing very well.
1-0 win over Aston Villa. We'll be dissecting that, trust me, very shortly. We don't have many games to talk about live. Of course, we are going to be keeping a keen eye again on the Championship. But in the Premier League, there's nothing. So, guess what? We've got some amazing topics to get into throughout the show. Don't forget to like the video, comment with your thoughts as well, and subscribe. We're only 2k away from 200,000 though.
Oh, I reckon we can get that today.
Let's get it today.
Let's do it.
Come on then, energy up.
Let's get it.
Let us know what you're thinking about the show as well. Give us some questions as we go along. I think we will have a bit of time to knock about with some funnier questions as well, I think.
Yeah.
So get those in for sure.
Yeah.
Shall we look at Villa Park then? Let's go straight there, Laurie. We were outside the ground on Thursday, myself, Turkish and James, previewing this game with Luke Vernon. He was quite confident going into this one. Aston Villa on a good run of form, but Arsenal crucially pick up the 3 points after a home defeat in the week, which we won't mention, but 54 points now, 28 games played. United on 29 games and only 50 points. So that win is huge.
It's a huge win. And I have to say, and I'm going to keep it real.
Oh, please do.
As I always do.
As you always do, yeah.
I was apprehensive before this game. In fact, initially, my initial prediction was 2-1, and then on the day of the game this morning, we heard that Martinelli had to withdraw through illness. Ramsdale had an injury. Not that I don't trust Leno, but it was just the momentum shift. I was thinking, you know what? So then I changed my prediction from a 2-1 win to a 2-2 draw. But I have to say that based on what I saw there, we were comfortable, man. 1-0 probably flattered Villa. I think we were...
Big talk. Gabby Agbonlahor on the broadcast there definitely won't be happy. Big Villa fan.
Good.
Matty, let's come to you. You watched the game as well. A great finish from Saka, his 10th goal of the season now. Haylen boy. Again, what else can we say apart from a massive win that is?
Yeah, he's going to look great in a black and white top next season. Saka.
Not counting. Juventus, yeah.
Arsenal were impressive again, to be honest. Some good moments of play, some good build-up play, some nice touches. Arteta's finally putting his stamp on that side by the looks of it, and a deserved win today for them. Nervy moments at the end, last 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
Leno with a big save, last touch of the game, but Arsenal, like Laurie says, deserve
Yeah,
it.
I mean, apart from that little blip at the end there, I mean, I have to say this, Pepe, who I'm a big advocate of Nicolas Pepe, I'm always bemoaning the fact that he don't get enough minutes. Well, today he actually got more minutes than normal. He came on, I think it was the 66th, 67th minute. And I have to say, again, I'm going to keep it real, from the minute he came on, he didn't do anything right today. He had a poor game. And people will no doubt be like trolling me and say, see, this is why Pepe don't get any stars when I get on. But anyway, we got the win, that's the important thing. And yeah, man, it's looking good.
Matisse, at the start of the game, the keeper and of course, Martinelli, the news at the start of the game, didn't affect them in the end. You saw Leno making a huge save right at the end. Yeah. Must be hard for a goalkeeper who was the number one at Arsenal, came into the club as number one, has been on the side a lot, but now comes in and does the job when needed.
Yeah, it's good to have, and Arsenal been kind of messy in the goalkeeping department since, Petr Cech and all those guys, and obviously getting rid of Martinez and keeping Leno. But now, you just need Leno to come in and do his job when he's called upon, and that's what he did. I know Arsenal fans are starting to look ahead in the table. I think you should just focus on that fourth spot. I don't see Chelsea giving the third spot away. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's good for them, and they've taken full control now. They've got still a game in hand over United, and if they win that one, they'll be 7 points clear. So they're looking good, man. They're looking good. Again, Arsenal this season, their record against, say, the big six, obviously Liverpool midweek not winning, it's not season defining. All they got to do is just win the games that they're expected to win, and that's what they've been doing this season. So it's impressive.
Well, you know what? We're only 5 points behind Chelsea. We're only 5 points behind.
I just don't think Chelsea will let that slip. I really don't. We put together a decent run recently. We've got a whole heap of controversy around our club, but we're just still getting those wins and putting them together. I'd be disappointed and shocked if Arsenal were to leapfrog Chelsea this season and finish ahead of us.
As disappointed and shocked as I was that you lot were requesting that today's game be played behind closed doors. But I'm sure
I think it was a power play. I think it was a power play. yeah, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Disgrace!
Sporting integrity, Chelsea.
Disgrace!
Two things that just don't go together, unfortunately.
I'm gonna send some shots for Gibson though if he's not careful. I got shots.
We'll get into Gibson as well. Don't worry about that. Good comment so far, Bob Cricket. Let's get to 200k today. Bob is on it. AGT, if Arsenal had a somewhat good striker up top, Arsenal would have won by 3. Laka is shocking.
He's another one who didn't cover himself in glory today, it has to be said. And then when Eddie come on, again...
A bit more lively.
A bit lively, but never really looks like he's going to score. No disrespect, but it's just, it is what it is.
Big up to Geordie Toon for life. Come on, War Matty, up the Saudi mugs.
Yes, man. Big up, man. Big up. Let's go.
Big up to Sir Daddy. Not a name I thought I'd be reading out today. Big up to you for the super chat. Thoughts on West Ham advancing into the Europa League? A massive game for them in the next round. Who did they draw again? I know it was a big one.
Seville.
No, they knocked them out.
Oh, sorry.
Who did they get? Come on, boys.
I'm not gonna lie. When the Champions League draw was
know in
over,
the comments.
I moved on.
I got my life. Was it Braga? Did Rangers get Braga? Did Rangers get Braga? Someone got Braga.
It was a massive club. Who was it? Oh my days. Let us know in the comments as soon as you can.
But it's a big one.
Leon, there you go. Leon.
Yes,
Avoided Barcelona, avoided a few other big clubs, but Leon is still a massive game. French giants, really, aren't they? So, yeah, I mean, great news for West Ham. That's probably the biggest game in their recent history, to be honest. Ali A, you lost to Everton, Matty. Big up my Scouse brother AGT. There we go. Matty looking like a young Rafa Benitez, says Cassie Gascoigne.
All right.
That's not good. Trust me, I've
Didn't know
seen
when
that.
Rafa wore caps and glasses. And
Essentials t-shirts. He'll be in Ed Hardy next week. Big up to Ula's Poojery. How much of a problem will missing Ramsdale be in the future? We just touched on Leno coming in. Thank you for the super chat.
You know what? I'd have to say, listen, Leno's a very accomplished goalkeeper. It needs to be said that Ramsdale was meant to be number 2 when he came in. So if he's not available, Ramsdale, and Leno comes in, he's a more than adequate replacement in my view. And I'm not just saying it to be wise after the event. I actually said that before the game. That I had no concerns. Leno's a very good keeper. I think with Ramsdale, I think the common consensus among Arsenal fans is that Ramsdale's distribution is significantly better than Leno's. But in terms of shot stopping, commanding the box and stuff like that, Leno is top quality.
Interesting. Jack Burton, 4 games in 12 days for the Toon. They are shattered.
They were. That's why we got beat Thursday night, really. Everyone was fatigued. We had injuries still. We had players missing. You could tell the lads were totally drained after we controlled the first half. And then second half, they were just totally drained. They had enough. But they're off to Dubai now. They're in Dubai today, so enjoying themselves.
They could do with a break. Holiday. Went on a nice run. Nice to take a little break and then come back stronger.
Yeah, back-to-back 1-0 defeats, obviously, after Stamford Bridge on Sunday, then Everton on Thursday. But last time we went on a break, went to Saudi Arabia, came back, won 5, drew 1, 6 games in a row there, and then 9 games unbeaten in total. So it's worth a treat. Enjoy the holiday, lads. You deserved it. Premier League safety. It's too bad.
How many points you on now?
33, I think.
Okay, yeah, so it's basically safe.
It's basically
still 9 points clear.
2 wins or something.
Basically,
Still 9 points
So
clear.
I think you're on 31.
31. Should have been 33 because we should have drew Everton and drew Chelsea. So
Is it 31? Is that?
Should have, would have, could have. Chelsea, the mighty Chelsea. Last
Adding
minute
points
winner.
onto the board.
You're not entirely out of the woods yet, you know.
now we are.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, and I sincerely hope you do stay up, and you know that's true because you know we talk.
No, I was saying in my reaction the other night, I was saying the lads took the foot off the pedal a little bit, and I don't think we are safe yet. Like the lads played like we were already safe.
Especially with Leeds winning yesterday.
Yeah, it was a big win, that wasn't it?
Oh, what a
2-0 down,
massive
3-2
win.
win.
Yeah, huge.
Marsh madness.
Thought they were done, finished.
Marsh
Everton as well.
madness.
Everton obviously in the relegation scrappers who beat you, so obviously that was a big win for them. So
I know.
it's not over yet, but I'd just be shocked if Newcastle took that last place. I mean, Watford and Norwich are finished for me.
Yeah.
I think with relegation, I think we would all agree that it's often like when you're in these relegation fights, you kind of look and say, well, there's going to be 3 worse teams. And
Doesn't
I think
always
that's been
work out like that.
established.
Yeah.
I think most of the time it does work out like that, then, let's be honest.
Yeah, people have been lucky. Remember that last minute great escape from West Brom back in 04-05?
Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, Kevin Campbell, Jeff
Robbie Earnshaw.
Horsfield.
Robert Earnshaw.
Robbie Earnshaw, Jeff Horsfield.
Kevin Phillips was there, wasn't
Kevin
he, at
Phillips.
some point? Yeah.
Let's just keep naming until we can't go anymore.
Chris Brunt.
Jonathan Greening.
Oh,
Jonathan Greening.
How about that one, Laurie?
I don't
Chris
remember
Brunt?
that
No,
one.
he wasn't there yet.
He wasn't there at
It's
that
way
point,
before
no.
Brunt.
I would say Norwich and
great
Watford
team.
have gone And I reckon Burnley are gone as well, to be honest.
I really think Burnley will stay up.
It's hard because Dyche just does it every year, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does
Count
it every
on
year.
Dyche doing it every year.
But Leeds have picked up some points now, which has come to my surprise, and Everton as well. But
Let's be honest,
Everton
we
have a
all
very
want-
tough fixture
We all
list.
want Burnley to go. innit?
I had enough of
No
it.
one.
Everton have a very tough fixture list ahead of them. Very tough, Everton. So it'd
Doesn't
be
get
interesting.
any easier for Everton. Frank Lampard breaking his hand in celebration of their
So would you if
99th
Alex
minute.
Iwobi scored.
Absolutely.
Big up Alex Iwobi. Big up Kelechi as well. He's a big advocate.
Absolutely. Big up to Ilias. Marty is looking nice. The drip.
Thank you. Rafa Benitez.
Name's not Marty though. Matty.
Scored with correct happens all the time.
So it can't be you. Rafa Benitez. Marty McFly.
I don't see
Which
where
one?
that. What is that? The beard or what?
That was just one person said it before, but then he complimented the drip, so then that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a drippy Rafa.
Yeah,
Jason.
Can't
haven't got a
imagine
goal yet, so it
Rafa.
doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Can't imagine Rafa in the Gucci drip. I can't see that.
No, it is. Gucci
It is,
hat.
man.
Do you know what? We're paying him way too much. Why haven't I got a Gucci hat?
Stolen.
Man's rocking
Yeah,
the
probably
Gucci
is.
drip.
Big up to everyone involved in the comments. Let's talk about Arsenal just, and then we'll finish off and move on
let's
to
talk
Chelsea.
about Arsenal.
I mean, the top four is looking tight as it is, but that win takes them slightly above the pack. Obviously, Man United the biggest threat to them.
Don't write
Matisse,
Spurs off.
Nah, I was
can't
just
write
going to say
Spurs off
that.
as well.
Harry
Got-
Kane in that kind of goal scoring form.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I previously had, this is some games ago now, we're going back a little while, when it started to look like we might, be a serious challenger for the top four place. Myself and others were saying that we might just miss out because United would probably score their way to a top four finish. And that is still on the cards, still possible. But we are in pole position now. And there will be points dropped between now and the end of the season by all the teams. But I reckon, if you were a betting man, which I'm not, then you would probably put a few quid on Arsenal to get that fourth place.
It's yours to lose now, isn't it? It's yours to lose, I would say, by looking at that. But like you're right though, Spurs.
You
bit of
can't,
momentum
you
now.
can't discount Spurs
Kane
or
coming to
United.
the
You say that, but
got
Pinto
Conte.
in the comments says you were the one that were writing Spurs off, Laurie.
Yeah, I was. So that's yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
dear. The
I was
receipts
writing
have
them
come
off.
out.
No, I admit I was writing them off, but it's just the nature of football, isn't it? In the Premier League.
I think there's still twists and turns coming in
There
that
is.
top four battle.
We've got Spurs after the international break, mate, so we'll do you a favour. Don't worry about that.
Jacob, big up to you for the super chat. He says, thanks to Arsenal of winning me £242. It's actually 240 because you've just spent £2 on that. So big up to you for the old super
And
chat.
can I just say as well that was another reason why today was a crucial win.
Yeah,
Because he won 240 quid.
Well, crucial for him. But no, seriously, having
Still
lost to
gotta play.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
that was disappointing. If we'd have lost today or dropped points today, then
Still to play Chelsea and
squeaky
Tottenham.
bum time and all that. So a win today puts us back in
Just
the
one more
race.
before I come to Matisse on Chelsea and get an update from you about the bid situation. The goal itself, nice finish from Saka. It comes out to him on the edge of the box. 10 goals for the season now. Wasn't really there in the big game on Wednesday night. Maybe slipped in and
Stop
out.
it.
But no, well, it's
Stop
true.
it,
He didn't
no.
have his best game. You
No,
said
he
that
didn't.
yourself.
He didn't.
Does he need to show? Yes, he can do it against the teams like Aston Villa, the teams maybe slightly below Arsenal. But for me, he needs to show the goals against the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the Cities, in the big games. Because listen, if he helped Arsenal out
Today
a bit more
was a
in the
big
games
game.
against the big six, Arsenal haven't won one game against the big six this season. So he has to step up in the big games. We all know how good he is.
I think you're being a bit harsh, to be honest. I think, listen, man, it's a young kid.
No wins against the big six this season.
It's not
Well,
going to
who
mean
are you
it's not going to
talking-
mean anything if they finish in the
Are
top
we
four.
talking about
No,
Arsenal? Are you
exactly.
talking about Saka? Which-
Saka, what I'm saying is, if he did score in those big games against the top six, then you'd have a better record against them.
Yeah, listen, we're not there yet, though. I
Yeah.
mean, I said this to you the other day.
He did score against City. He did score
Okay.
against City, but I'm talking about scoring the winner or having a goal. That
I think
actually
to
means
beat
getting the
those
points.
teams, you need more experienced players that are at the top
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
That's what those teams have, right? And Arsenal don't have that. Their best
Exactly.
players are their young players, so they're still
And
developing.
let's not forget, right? Let's all be honest, keeping it 100, as I say. Arsenal currently are overachieving. I don't think none of the Arsenal fans that I spoke to before the start of the season predicted that we'd get top four. Everybody was like, oh, we've got qualified for Europe. You know what I mean? So we're overachieving at this moment in time. Yes, we maybe haven't beaten any of the top six, but if the season was to stop tomorrow, this would be deemed as a success for Arsenal. So
yeah, there's always going to be
evolving.
something. If you beat the top 6 and you're still in the same position, you didn't beat enough of the smaller teams. At the end of the day, they're 4th. And I didn't expect them to be in 4th. You know, Man United was never meant to drop off the way they did.
You look at the talent that United have got right through that team. They should be challenging City and Liverpool. You know what I mean? So for us to be 4th above them, with a couple of games to spare.
Tim Moore actually backs that up. He says, AGT, how much of a failure would that be if United miss out on the top 4 with that squad? In a way, if they're below you, then I guess in that sense you are overachieving, because they should be above you. So in that sense you're overachieving. But for Arsenal, the lack of 4th over the last few years has allowed you to slip back and drop the standards. No, I'm saying it.
Back to back 8th place.
You're right, you're right, because them finishing
these little subtle digs. You know what I mean? I see what you're
I
doing.
hadn't finished, bro. I hadn't finished. What I'm telling you is, getting 4th was the done thing for Arsenal, and because you haven't done it for a few years. Do you know what I mean? You just can't take anything seriously.
I see what you're doing.
It's true. Punditry.
That's what I do.
It's true because Arsenal wasn't
Obviously
finished.
can't take it.
Arsenal weren't meant to finish back-to-back 8th. That was massively underperforming, right? So for them to finish 8th, I would have expected them a 6th, and then this season a 4th. So
this
in
is
terms
my
of the
point.
progress
This is
and the
literally my
project,
point.
they should be coming 4th right now. They should, but obviously in comparison to the other squads, you would say this is overachieving.
Right, okay,
but
fair
for
enough.
Arteta's
Let's
time period,
rewind
he
a couple of months
should be
ago,
here.
When we were clearly struggling.
Yeah.
The thing happened with Aubameyang. He's gone. We didn't get a striker in January. Realistically, no one saw this right now. I certainly didn't.
But to be honest, if Arteta, Arteta back-to-back 8th place finishes. If he had finished 6th this season, I would have said sack him. To be honest,
Really?
100%. Because you're
had to
not
get top
making
4
enough
this
progress. You're meant to
No,
be.
we would have, because we were back in Europe.
That's not good enough.
I don't know, man. Listen, you're right. 2 8th place finishes is disappointing, but I think most of the fans that I spoke to anyway were saying that the minimum is 6th.
See, and this is my point exactly. The standards have dropped, so it was
Massively,
let's get at least 4th.
But
Now
you also have to
we'll
be
be happy with
realistic.
6th. You have to be realistic for sure. But if Arsenal do get 4th, I think it's not overachieving. It's what they should. The very, very minimum.
Do
Do you know what?
We're listening to too much.
Even Allier says, "Laurie, let him speak. Stop laughing." You know what I mean? So I got Allier on my side at least.
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Right, that's Arsenal. I can't get through to him. So let's move on to Matisse. So much to talk about when it comes to Chelsea. Talk about Rudiger later on, but give us a bit of an update on where all the bids stand. Has there been a Saudi bid? Has there not? Let us know where we stand with Chelsea. And also, save the bridge. And if you don't want to, don't.
There was a deadline yesterday for the bidding process, and I think definitely Todd Bowie got his bid in, and he's built this like consortium group from different bidders around the world. Now I don't really like that structure because it then involves, I think, about 5-6 people, and then obviously every single time there's a negotiation or some sort of decision to be made, it has to go across all those people. So that's one consortium group. There's Vice and another American consortium group as well. These are basically broke brothers who ain't got the money to do it themselves, so they've got to put together a group for a consortium. And then there's the Saudi bid. Now the Saudi bid was meant to go through before the deadline. Niza Cancella from Goal was waiting on him to confirm that. He's still waiting to confirm it, so we have no idea if the Saudi bid is there. I think,
according to David Ornstein, it's not been made. Apparently.
Yeah, so maybe it didn't get over the deadline, or there was some sort of issue there. So I don't think that's potentially a problem there for Chelsea there. There was meant to be a Turkish bidder as well, and then there was a Ghanaian guy that I seen with a valuation of 7.7 million.
7.7 million. It's a little bit shy.
Yeah, he's a little bit shy. He also
But
apparently
he's a
is on the
billionaire,
list.
that guy.
I have no idea, but
That's how much he thinks Arsenal
I'm pretty sure I seen 7.7 million was his worth, but I don't know. So, but yeah, there's apparently a lot of bidders. There's a lot of bidders. There's over 20 of them. So
Not forgetting Mike Ashley as well, mate.
Oh God, no, that man, stay away. He would be instantly rejected. We would actually stampede. We would never have him in charge. But yeah, like
Let's be honest,
there's
man,
definitely silent bidders as well,
yes,
not just the ones in the news.
Someone's going to buy Chelsea, and they'll come.
Of course,
Of course.
So that's the latest with the ownership of the club. What about Rudiger apparently agreeing a 4-year deal with Juventus? Obviously, you know what the situation is with his contract. It couldn't get sorted, and this news has definitely hampered those talks.
What's the
as well.
source?
Sorry?
What's the source?
Of that news?
Yeah.
Everything, mate.
Everyone.
Everyone's saying
Very-
it.
I'm not
Do you not believe that's true?
No, I'm not believing it. No,
Wow,
because
okay.
I think if Rudiger's leaving
should
Chelsea,
Message to you.
My friend.
I think if Rudiger's leaving Chelsea, he's got to be going to a top team. And Juventus right now are not a top team. I mean, they just got their ass slapped by Villarreal in the Champions League this week. They've fallen off since they sacked Sarri, hired Pirlo, and now they're dwindling somewhere, trying to qualify for Champions League football in Serie A, while it's a Milan derby race. So I don't think he's going to Juventus. I think he'd rather wait it out, see if he can stay at Chelsea, or go to Bayern, who obviously let go of Nicolas Saul. He's leaving at the end of the season, or go to Real Madrid, who were linked to him before as well. So it would be a backward step.
Can I ask a question? Are you still playing the Liquidator before home games?
Of course.
It's quite ironic now, isn't it?
It's a tune. Ain't nobody gonna tell me it ain't. It's a tune. It's a sick tune. It's
It
good.
is, it is.
Yeah, it's
No, I like
But
the
you're
song,
not the only
but when I
ones that
hear
play.
it,
West Brom play that.
yeah, they do.
they?
Yeah, I think
Few clubs play, I think.
Yeah, I think they do.
Don't
West
Villa
Brom. I
play?
think
A
few,
Wolves
but
do as well.
a few clubs sing "You'll
Yeah,
Never Walk
Wolves.
Alone" as well, isn't it? So it's
Yeah, I
fine.
think you're not the
Well,
only
we
ones.
started it, then obviously Celtic have got it because the Catholic connection, and then you've obviously got Dortmund, Mainz as well sing it. So every club Jurgen's been at, they've all sung "You Never Walk Alone." How mad
So
is
he's got to
that?
go Celtic next, I think.
Yeah. Mad stat that is. But Billy 1999 here says Juve are a bigger club than Chelsea.
I mean, they can be whatever they want, but right now they're not very good. Nottingham Forest can say they're a bigger club than Arsenal in European trophies, but they're in the Championship. So it's a step backwards. That's all I'm saying. And Chelsea are a big club, whether people like it or not. So I don't think he'll be going there. I don't know
They're
where
a
that
big
report's.
club.
I don't know where that report's coming from, but I mean, look at Italian football. Look at the state of it on the European stage. They're nowhere near touching quarterfinals, semi-finals. It makes no sense for him to go there. So I don't see that personally. And I think Juventus, I'm pretty sure last time I checked, were in a little bit of financial, a little bit of financial issues after signing Ronaldo and then obviously hitting the pandemic. So I don't think they're going to be paying him ridiculous wages, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
Yeah, apparently on that Chelsea bid, the Ricketts family, who own MLB team, the Chicago Cubs, the consortium featuring Lord Coe, Sebastian Coe, another group led by British property investor Nick Candy, have all submitted offers to buy Chelsea. So the bid was last night, 9 o'clock, after the club was put up for sale. And Candy has said his bid is over 2 billion. So initially, I think it was valued at around 3 billion. But with the news, I guess, the stock goes down a little bit after what happened. There's also a Swiss billionaire, Hans-Georg Weiss. You've got Todd Bowley. You've got Barbara Cherone from the American PR company. You've got Jonathan Goldstein. You've got Daniel Finkelstein. There's a lot of people getting involved. So
Nick Candy's doing a lot of PR right now. A lot of PR. Like, the guy is literally singing the Liquidator in his bathroom. He's saying that goal against Stoke for Frank Lampard, and he's proper Chelsea and all this nonsense. He's full of PR. Ricketts have got to be ruled out immediately because we dug up on them, and there's a whole heap of issues with them in terms of racial comments and all these things as well, Islamophobia, all that kind of stuff. So there's no chance they're going to be getting that bid. No chance, absolutely no chance. So they can put in a bid if they want, but I mean some of the players like Rudiger, Ziyech, the Muslim players have already said that they feel uncomfortable if they were to take over. So I have there's no way.
What Islamophobic remarks?
Some of the comments that he was making were something like Muslims are our enemy and things like that.
Wow.
Like there's absolutely no chance of him getting that ownership.
I'm surprised they even considered that.
He put the bid in. He can put the bid in, but it's not going to get considered. No chance.
We
He
don't
gets
want
it.
people like that. Football. No chance.
very interesting. Some comments flying in after this Chelsea debate. BZ Letman says Matisse turns into a little baby whenever Chelsea get mentioned. Big YouTubers not being able to take criticism is hilarious.
What criticism?
To be fair,
we weren't criticising you.
There was no criticism.
We weren't criticising you. High Tech
totally.
High Tech J says racism and Islamophobia is proper Chelsea.
Of course.
That's not what we want to see.
To be fair to Chelsea, they're not by any means the only club affected by that.
No.
Although they don't have a good reputation, but let's be clear.
But the bid itself, one of the bids, like we said, with Lord Coe, is also being led by Martin Broughton, who was the chairman for Liverpool overseeing the sale in 2010. And he was saying, as a lifelong Chelsea fan, I'm committed to ensuring Chelsea maintains its preeminent position at the top of European football.
Preeminent.
Preeminent, that's the one. Yeah, I haven't seen that word for a while.
I don't trust
since
any
I've
of
been
these
at
guys,
school.
man. Any of these talkers, I don't trust them at all.
Well,
You
everyone's
know-
putting their bids in. They're all throwing their hat in the ring. Who do you actually think is going to win this bidding war?
Probably nobody that's even mentioned on there.
You reckon?
Someone comes out of nowhere.
I actually hope
Mike Ashley.
I hope it's no. I hope it's because he'd want to change the stadium name and everything. You get that.
Sports Eric Bridge.
Yeah.
Who was the ones that were pushing? Vialli was pushing.
I'm not sure who Vialli was pushing. He did join someone's team. Yeah, I think that might have been maybe Todd. I'm not sure, but there's so many of them. I actually hope it's someone that hasn't been talking a lot, because the people that are talking a lot, I don't trust anything they're putting out at the moment.
I must admit, I'm always slightly suspicious when you get these bidders and then they push some kind of high-profile person up to spearhead the bid, and you think, this is a bit corny, man. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought when I saw Lord Coe. I think, come on, bro, it's football. I know, like, you know,
I'd like
he
it
claims to be a Chelsea fan, but he's an
Not
athletic
professional.
guy.
No Chelsea fan realistically cares if you're a Chelsea fan. Do you know what I mean? You could be a Chelsea fan and still make stupid decisions because you're too emotionally attached.
I'm sure
So,
Roman Abramovich didn't grow up with, pictures of Dennis Wise on his walls.
Yeah, 100%. I can guarantee you that he didn't.
Right, games in the Championship today as well. We can't forget about those Championship games. Let's see what the scores are. Some fairly big games. Obviously, we covered the Championship here last week, which was good fun. So let's see what it's looking like in terms of live right now. So Derby 1, Coventry 1. Full time already. That was the early kickoff today. Not ideal for Derby. They're obviously desperate for any kind of points they can get. Sheffield United 2, Barnsley 0. Looking bad for Barnsley down there at the bottom. Bristol City at home to West Brom. That's 0-0 4 minutes in. Huddersfield at home to Bournemouth. Maybe Ollie's at that one.
Yeah.
Hull versus Luton, only 1 minute in. That's 0-0. Reading 0, Blackburn 0, Stoke 0, Millwall 0, and Swansea Birmingham is also 0-0. The table for the Championship is getting interesting though, Laurie. I'll come to you. At the minute, Fulham and Bournemouth in the prime positions, but Huddersfield, Sheffield United, Blackburn, Luton, QPR, and you can't even rule out Middlesbrough and Forest if you look at that table there. Who do you reckon is the third team maybe to come up out of those? Because let's just assume, unless there's a big fall away, that Fulham and Bournemouth go up.
Well, if it was down to me, I'd like to see Luton get in there,
Yeah.
having lived there once. And I've got a lot of friends.
Luton fan, aren't you?
No. No, but I do have a soft spot. I do have a soft spot for Luton, having lived there for so long and got family down there as well. So, yeah, but it's unlikely because again they've overachieved, haven't they, Luton?
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think maybe Huddersfield.
Really? I mean, out of those teams, I would prefer. I would say maybe
Knowing
Forest
you,
to come
any
up.
team I choose, you're going to go against.
Well, I
them.
wouldn't choose
Yeah.
Luton. You've got a soft spot. I don't. I'd like to see Blackburn back in the Prem. I think that would be a good move.
Yeah.
We had some big battles against them in the Prem.
Remember-
Won the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing about Blackburn? The Venkis apparently are still in charge of it.
Yeah.
They are, right?
The chicken guys.
Yeah.
Chicken chop.
Remember them, the Venkis, man? That was
They had
hilarious.
some questionable adverts
They did.
around that time when there was chickens in the change room and all sorts. It's crazy.
They were very entertaining when they first come on the scene.
And Nottingham Forest not in the playoffs, so they're just outside now.
Just outside.
Just outside, 58 points for them.
Very close.
But they're currently under QPR and Middlesbrough, so they're right at the end of the pack, but they do have a game in hand.
You know what's interesting about Forest is that if they do come up, or even if they don't, they're about to get asset stripped for all their players, man, because they've got some pretty good players there. And I reckon all of them will be playing Premier League football next season.
Do you think
Johnson,
so?
Jed
That's why they
Spence.
need to come up, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Big up to AC Slater. Sun's out. I'm going Beer Garden.
Good idea.
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
That's
Not a
where
bad
you'd
idea.
rather be right now, isn't it?
No, 5 o'clock we're going to Beer Garden, didn't we?
I can't remember who said it, but earlier I saw someone say, put that Gucci hat in the mug. That will get us a few quid. Love to see
Talking about
it.
the change, do you think what will happen with Rooney? Do you think he'll still be a Derby manager next season?
I
don't
think he
so.
wouldn't mind being there if they could afford him. You know, I don't think he'd shy away from the challenge of giving it another go next season, but it's whether they can
I
afford
reckon that
him.
next season one of the Premier League clubs will come in for him. They'll probably.
Who would he go to?
Well, he turned down Everton, didn't he? Turned down a chance to Everton when Lampard got it.
But
I
that
don't
was
think
out-
he'd
that was
fancy this
out of
battle
his,
again.
I think that was out of a lot of loyalty towards Derby. But
Well, he settled there, yeah. But
Yeah.
If they went down to League One, I don't know how I would imagine them
See,
being
a
there.
guy like Rooney, I'll give him the kind of personalities. I don't see him like leaving there halfway through the season.
No.
However,
End
for
of the
next
season.
season,
Yeah.
the end of the season, it might be a different matter.
Yeah.
He will be able to look everybody in the eye and say, look, I did my best. Very difficult circumstances, but now I'm ready for a new challenge.
I never
So,
saw him becoming a manager, you know. It's very, I don't know, it's just weird for me seeing him as a man. I expected Gerrard, I expected Lampard, I expected Vieira. Didn't expect Rooney. Didn't see that coming at all. Thought he would just chill. Very strange.
Not necessarily. I think he's still got a lot to give to the game itself.
He should still
he
be
is a
playing,
football
really,
man.
isn't he?
Yeah, he could.
How old is he?
I think he's
Put it this
about-
way, Ronaldo's older
He's
than-
younger than Ronaldo, bro.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
You should, with a guy with that level of talent, I mean, he was.
He could easily sit deep in midfield,
Yeah,
couldn't he, and just
He
dictate
could
play.
still be doing that now, mate.
Fine.
Honestly,
Easy.
It
He
was
should be
that
playing
good.
coach. He should be playing for Derby.
Get
well
the kid
be.
use his help.
It could well be, but at the same time, just didn't have that discipline off the field. To, I mean,
the
I'm
pounds on
not
a bit,
being
hasn't he?
funny.
Put the
You
pounds
put
on.
Ronaldo next to Rooney, topless, and you can see who's been working hard in the gym and who's been in the
I
pub.
must say, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to see that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Oh, big
Well.
goal in the championship for your boys, Laurie. Big goal in the championship.
Massive
for
goal
them.
for Luton.
goal for
Elijah
Luton.
Adebayo on the 9th minute scores
Wow.
a big goal. Is it the KC Stadium anymore?
I think it still is the
Hull?
case, yeah.
Big goal for Luton. That is, tell you.
Go on, Luton, and go on the Hatters.
The Hatters, that is their name,
Hatters,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Kenilworth Road.
Kenilworth Road, man.
There you go. I remember we
I've been
played
there a few
Luton
times.
in the FA Cup 06. Alonso scored from inside his own box. Remember?
Right, yeah, I remember that game.
I think
Yeah,
it was
I remember that
4-2.
game.
Great game that was, really good. There's a lot of people in the chat saying that the Saudi bid has been confirmed apparently, but we'll let Matisse do a bit more research on that before we tell you that that is a fact.
I'll tell you what's funny though, right, is that all of a sudden there's all these moral and ethical concerns over owners and stuff.
Here we go.
like that. Which, let's face it, people are right
Strapping.
to raise concerns, but I think Eddie Howe had it right the other day when
Yeah.
he was asked. He said, "Listen, man, the Premier League have approved these guys.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say about it?"
Yeah.
Because I think to be fair to Eddie Howe, Carragher and them lot, I thought that was a bit naughty what they were doing.
Yeah, it was.
What's Eddie Howe going to say about it? You know, what's
I
he
don't think
expected
they were
to
having
say?
a go at Eddie Howe though. I thought
No,
they
they,
said he dealt with
they
it
low
well.
key were having a
What did
go.
they say?
Why
'Cause
doesn't he
the-
comment? Why
yeah,
don't he?
they're like, oh, you should be you shouldn't be shying away
They
from
were
it.
having a go.
They had a big
That's
go.
how I
didn't
interpret it.
But the questions do still have to be asked as a journalist. You have to ask the
they? To
question.
the
You gotta-
football manager, though.
got a
Yeah,
duty
not
to
to
the-
the manager.
Asking the wrong
Okay,
person.
Yeah, but that journalists don't think like that, do they?
Of course, yeah. 100%.
He's got what he wants, that journalist, hasn't he, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
He's got what he wanted out of that.
Yeah.
Got the piece, got the headlines.
But I thought Eddie Howe handled it very well. And that comment he made, look, at the end of the day, I'm the manager of Newcastle. I've been appointed to do a job. The Premier League have approved these guys. What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy target to go after the manager. You should be, you know what I mean, aiming those questions at people who make those decisions, not Eddie Howe. That's my
Yeah. No,
personal
100%.
Absolutely.
High Tech J says can't take Carragher serious. He spits on children.
That is a fact.
Yeah, that wasn't very ethical, was it?
Yeah, not very moral, that was it?
Yeah, but we want to talk about ethics.
Mr. Nice Guy Jamie, is it? One can.
Good point.
PJ Mabs, will Chelsea ever be the same? Roman is ruthless. Remember, he signed Shevchenko for 30 mil. He says 40, but I remember it was actually 30. When Jose never even wanted him. I mean, there were some decisions, I think, at the Chelsea era under Abramovich where he maybe was a bit hasty or a bit. I mean, can you name maybe 2 or 3 of the decisions that you maybe didn't understand the most in that time? For me personally, Roberto Di Matteo has to be one of them after winning the Champions League. No?
That's a comment to my top 3. I
Fair
think signing Fernando Torres
50 mil.
for 50
Thank
million. Yeah, when it was evident that he was about to fall off, and obviously we didn't really need him. We had Drogba as well, so it was kind of weird how that was even going to work with a front 2 or whatever the plan was. Again, he just liked to play and really wanted him and took him, and he's done that a few times. Like you said with Shevchenko, maybe Kai Havertz a couple of years ago, that was a good one. Sacking Carlo Ancelotti as well after winning a double the year after, coming second in the Premier League, sacked him. I thought that was incredibly harsh. I'd say that was the harshest sacking he's ever made in his tenure. I think the rest of them you can try and justify, but that one I can never justify sacking a manager after doing the double the year before they come second in the Premier League, but he was chasing the Champions League. And then I would say maybe I would say it was questionable to hire VS Boas as well. You know, he didn't really have much experience, and that was a massive job, and he's very young as well. And to hire a young manager when you've got so many experienced world-class players, it never goes well. They always overthrown you. Maybe if you had a younger squad, maybe as we did in Lampard's first season, players coming up from the academy, it would make more sense to have a young manager like we see these days Nagelsmann and people like this. But to have a young manager with Drogba, Lampard, it was never going to go well. So I think those three probably will be right up there for crazy decisions.
I tell you, another crazy decision, a lot more recent, Lukaku for 97 million. Do you think that is looking like, anyway, that's going to be one of the biggest flops recent years? And I say this as a person who actually admire Lukaku, but he's been woeful. Would you say?
No, it will be one of the biggest flops for sure. I mean, he's 325,000 a week, £97 million transfer records.
And it's not just the fact that he's flopped on the pitch; it's the stuff
off the pitch
as well that's just magnified it.
Yeah,
just exacerbated that whole thing.
There's never been a player that I've done a 180 on so fast after that interview. Like literally, this summer I would happily have him sold. Literally, man. Not even a second season I'm looking for, to be honest.
Almost treacherous what he did there.
Yeah,
it was
ridiculous.
Totally treacherous.
Yeah.
If anything, Chelsea could have sued him. For libel.
And the ironic thing about that thing, I was chatting to Robbie about this at the time, and we still do laugh about that, is that he was going on about Milan. They didn't want him either. You know what I mean? They don't like
I speak
him.
To Inter Milan fans. They still don't like him.
Putting banners up saying, no, we don't want you to stay over there, and you're capping for people that
You're twerking for someone who doesn't want to be.
Yeah, like what is wrong with him?
Whilst Chelsea fans are singing your name, absolutely delighted to have you back. Go and create a legacy, and then he's searching for Inter Milan's love, and then he ends up losing both.
He was saying all that stuff about how this is unfinished business for him, because of course he was there before, and I'm looking for, this is the only club I would have left Milan
He's
for.
master of PR. So much PR.
He let me down with that stuff.
Yeah,
man.
so much
Really
PR.
did.
Honestly, that's what he's about.
Big time. Let's touch on Chelsea's game with Middlesbrough. 5:15 kickoff today in the FA Cup. Big game for both teams. The statement was made, it was retracted only hours later. It was a disgrace, and I'm going to pile in on that. That was an absolute tone deaf, horrible statement from Chelsea, and then quickly got put back. Steve Gibson obviously came out and said what he said about Chelsea. Only 500 fans going today who bought the tickets before this was announced.
Yeah.
So you had to give the remaining 3,600 back to Middlesbrough, and they've used them for their fans. Their stadium is going to be rocking tonight at the Riverside. They've beaten Spurs. They've beaten Arsenal.
Beaten Spurs and Man United.
I mean, this is a tough game for Chelsea. Yes, you've got the quality, but are you actually going to get maybe overridden by the actual atmosphere tonight and all the negative headlines?
I think Chelsea have been backs against the wall for a few weeks now. Ever since the initial statement dropped 2-3 weeks ago, they've had to play under not easy conditions. I don't even know how they've got up to Middlesbrough. Apparently they managed to get the plane, which was nice, not the mega bus. I think the players actually funded that as well themselves. Yeah, I think they're getting to that point where they're having to fund it themselves. How much is even in there?
45p.
No, after the flight.
You guys are not even trying to save the bridge. You could put that right in front of the cop, but you're not even collecting any money. It's very disappointing. I expect that's been full by now.
Nobody wants to save it.
No one's been trying
your time will come, Matty, where no one's happy with your club anymore. They'll be like, I hate Newcastle, get them out of there. Oil money everywhere. Watch, it's coming.
Oh, no.
But yeah, when it comes to Middlesbrough, it's going to be a tough game. They're a good team. They're knocked out two, good Premier League teams. Beating Man United on penalties.
Two Premier League teams.
Yeah, two Premier League teams. It's going to be a tough game, but listen, hopefully we can go there, as the enemy. Sometimes we do love being the enemy, Chelsea, and we do love being the team that nobody likes, and we just go there and spoil the party. That's what we do. We spoil the party. So
could I just ask though, right? Whose decision was it to release that? Was it people saying
it was
it's
Bruce Buck, I think. Yeah, awful statement. Such a stupid statement to release.
Sporting integrity.
You're really. I think
it's a joke.
I think they knew that was never going to pass, but I think they were trying to.
You got a theory as to why they did that. Tell the people.
No. I'm not going to stick up for them because it was still stupid.
But you've got a theory as to why he might have said that.
I think they did it to try and put pressure on the FA to help them in negotiations with the government to get their tickets back, because I don't think anybody will agree that Chelsea fans shouldn't be able to go to the game. The tickets should be able to get sold and put into a bank account that just gets frozen or something. I think I've seen TalkSport was speaking about 45% of Middlesbrough's ticket sales will go to Chelsea anyway. That's how it works in the split. 45% for the whole capacity of the stadium, 10% to the FA. So Chelsea is still going to get money from Middlesbrough tickets, but for some reason we can't sell our own tickets. It doesn't make any sense.
Could you have given them away for free?
apparently you're not allowed to because it's a transaction that has to happen. It's all the government at the moment that's in charge of all of this. So that's why I think Chelsea would almost retaliate and reacting, but it was still a stupid statement. You can't expect, I don't think they did, but you can't expect Middlesbrough to not have any fans in a game where they're potentially probably going to get their best crowd of the season, you know, so it doesn't make any sense.
I think it has got all the makings of a FA Cup upset this afternoon, hasn't it? Saturday night at the Riverside. It was said there's going to be 25,000-30,000 smoggies there, only a couple of hundred Chelsea fans. An early goal, the first goal, could be huge. Looking forward to this game.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. That our Wembley experiences recently haven't been great anyway, so it's not.
I think it's fair to say the whole country will be pulling for a Middlesbrough win, including myself, because obviously Balogun's there, and he got his first goal for Middlesbrough as well the other day. It's a really good goal, so we'll be hoping that he. But that aside, and listen, I've got a lot of respect for Matisse, right? And I don't really hate Chelsea that much, but when I saw that statement, I was like, bro,
it was silly.
What are you doing? And you know, it was interesting because that statement came at a time when one or two people that I was speaking to who previously disliked Chelsea was saying, you know what, as much as I hate Chelsea, I wouldn't want to see them fall out of Premier League or anything like that. So they had a little bit of empathy going their way.
Exactly.
Did you kind of feel that way?
No.
No, one or two people I've spoken to who were like known Chelsea haters and say, as much as I hate them, I don't want them to go out of the league in this way.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Buck comes out with that, and then everybody was like, oh, that's it, that's why I want Chelsea gone.
Yeah, exactly,
You talk about faux pas, that was mega.
Yeah.
Big game at the Riverside, 5:15 kickoff. Massive game for Chelsea. Can they get into another FA Cup semi-final?
Chelsea are going to win.
You think so, yeah? Job done.
One thing about Chelsea that I've always felt about Chelsea is that even going back to the days when John Terry, Lampard, Drogba and all, mentally they're a very strong team. And I think that's kind of been part of the Chelsea DNA for a number of years now. I couldn't have always said that about Arsenal, couldn't have always said that about Tottenham, couldn't have always said that
never say that about Tottenham, to be fair.
Man United, another one. I could say that about Liverpool now, I could say that about City now. Some teams are just, you know what I mean, you get the impression that, you know, when a game gets tough, they will, you know, respond. And I think Chelsea have got that about.
Yeah, they've got that way to find a way as well, haven't they? Just find that moment of brilliance. So we've seen it against Newcastle last Sunday. Just that split ball from Jorginho, great finish from Havertz, frustrated the whole game, win it in the last minute. I think that's the kind of thing they're capable of.
Yeah, a couple of stats before we get into our score predictions for this one. Chelsea have won 3 of the previous 4 FA Cup clashes, with Middlesbrough only losing once in the third round in 1993. Of those, previous matchups was, of course, the 1997 FA Cup final, where Middlesbrough appeared for the first time in the FA Cup final, but lost 2-0 to Chelsea through Roberto Di Matteo goal after 16 seconds.
Very early goal,
and Eddie Newton. For Chelsea, since recording back-to-back Premier League wins over Mourinho's Chelsea in February and August 2006, Middlesbrough have lost each of the last 8 matches with Chelsea in all competitions without scoring a goal. What do you reckon the score is going to be tonight?
I say 2-1 Chelsea. It's going to be
90
tough
minutes.
Yeah, hopefully, but it will be difficult because Middlesbrough, you know, they're a good team. They're in the upper end of the Championship. They've knocked out 2 big teams or 2 medium teams, and they're a good team. So it'll be tough. Good
manager as well, you know, Chris Wilder. Good manager and Chris Wilder they've got there at Borough. Fits the club well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chelsea knocked out Luton as well.
Yeah, they did. That was a tough game for Chelsea as well, for sure.
Very tough.
Matty, what's the score?
1-0 Borough.
1-0 to the Borough. Wow. A shocker on the cards for
Probably
Matty.
not.
He loves his neighbours, he does.
Got sport North-East teams.
I'm going to go 2-2. I think it could be an absolute classic in 90, and then I think Chelsea to win in extra time.
Bloody hell. Stress.
Laurie?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad shout, but I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. I could see Borough scoring, and I can see Chelsea having to ride their luck a little bit and tuck in, but I think overall, man, they've got the quality. And the other thing I was going to say as well, that with Tuchel as manager, I think he's been very clever.
Yeah.
And I think that he's almost enjoyed being in that kind of siege mentality situation, backs to the wall type thing.
Yeah.
And I've been quite impressed with him, the way he's handled things recently. And I just think that those kind of characteristics will probably see them through.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you think the score is going to be tonight. Middlesbrough versus Chelsea, FA Cup quarter-final, massive game. Having trouble with the iPad reading out the super chat, so if we get them up on the screen here, I can read a couple of them out. So if you just want to bear with us. Isaiah Jallo, big up to you for the super chat. Sucks having our name dragged through the mud, but what can we do? A few bad apples spoil the bunch. Matisse, did you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends in the context. If he's talking about overall, I do think Chelsea are being punished for something the UK have thrived upon, for 2 decades themselves as an economy. So I do think it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I do think it's a bit interesting for them to sanction us in this way when they've profited themselves. And if he's talking about fans, then obviously that always applies. But yeah.
Interesting. Big goal for Yeovil, by the way, away at Dover.
Couple of big goals in the Championship as well, mate.
Do you want to update us?
Bournemouth taking that lead in that big game away to Huddersfield. Push at the top there, 2nd versus 3rd, isn't it? Stoke 1-0 up against Millwall as well. Couple of goals going in now in the old Football League.
Very important league as well. Right, let's talk about other FA Cup games, of course. Everton versus Crystal Palace. Massive game really for Everton. I was saying in the preview show with Luke Vernon that this is their last glimmer of hope for Everton.
Do you think it's a massive game for them though?
Of course it is. Listen, you won't find any Everton fan, and trust me,
Cup game
that isn't going to be up for an FA Cup quarter-final. It's a quarter-final, Rob.
Yeah, it is, but I think I think if you ask the Everton fans, to be honest, I think they would rather lose today than lose their next Premier League game.
They would have rather beat us on Thursday night than beat Palace, wouldn't they, on Sunday? Yeah. Which they could do both.
They could be Portsmouth and win the FA Cup and still go down.
Wigan as well.
Wigan
2013. Ben Watson header.
Yes. Was that against Manchester City? Was it?
It was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I personally, speaking from an Arsenal point of view, I really hope Vieira wins today. I've been impressed with him. Since he's taken over at Palace. A lot of people are tipping Palace to go down. And not only has he come in and stabilised things, but they're looking at a much better side to watch than they ever were under Roy. So I give Vieira a lot of credit. And listen, I've got no real horse in the race, but I'd like to see Vieira do well.
I would agree with that.
You say that. Everton are appearing in the quarter-final of the FA Cup for the 47th time, the outright most of any side in the competition's history. Didn't know that.
Well,
the Toffees have progressed to the Final Four in 57% of those ties, last doing so in 2016 under Roberto Martinez. It was, of course, the last trophy that they won in 1995. And Palace's 3-1 win over Everton in December in the Premier League was their first against the Toffees in 14 matches, drawing 7 and losing 6. So the Eagles have actually never beaten Everton twice in the same campaign. Obviously this is an FA Cup game, that really goes out the window. But the way that Patrick Vieira has Palace playing, this could be a massively tough game. And of course it is at Selhurst Park as well tomorrow at 12:30.
Yeah, them fans will be dead up for that one. The drums will be beaten. But like you say, Vieira has done an unbelievable job. I was one of them who I thought he might struggle. I mean, in France he didn't do great. And he's came in and completely revolutionised the side. He's changed the way they play. He's bringing through some exciting youngsters in Olise and the lad who's just been called up for England, Mark Gay, and the left back that could have got called up as well, Mitchell.
Conor Gallagher.
And he's putting together a really good side there, playing some good football and picking up results. So he's been
and
impressive.
They've also shown that when they need to dig in, they can do that as well. When they played City the other day. So I've been very impressed with them, and I'd like to see them achieve a measure of success. So. And let's face it, Everton, man, they've got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, I think Palace will win that.
They had a big turnover of players in the summer. A lot of players went out on frees, and I think Gary Cahill might have been part of that group, and loads of players. So to turn over the squad as quickly as they did, and then to go ahead and perform like this is brilliant for them. And yeah, man, it's
and dare I say it, I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm sure Matisse would agree.
Yeah.
It's good to see a black manager doing well.
100%.
Because they're not giving the
I'll agree with that as well.
No, I'm sure you know.
What am I?
No. You're not black.
That's true. I'm extremely white. That's why I'm going on holiday tomorrow. I need a tan. Casper the Ghost.
I say that, I'm coming from a good place.
Yeah, of course, bro. I know.
There's not enough black managers in football, and to see one, especially a former Arsenal legend, get a job where a lot of people were predicting that he weren't going to go well, and to see him doing so far so well, Yeah,
listen, we love
it's all
to see
good.
it, especially,
100%.
as you say, it's been a real lack of black managers. I mean, if
Absolutely.
I'm on the top of my head,
Chris Hughton, maybe.
Chris
Chris Hughton was a
Hughton,
decent manager for us.
the Charlton manager, what was it, Chris Powell?
Chris Powell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Ince is back in the
Paul
management.
Ince,
Paul
yeah.
Ince,
Never,
Is
never,
he back already?
Didn't
know that.
Redden, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it
Did
was.
not know that.
none of them have really reached the high level of the
No,
Premier
no,
League.
no.
at
Well, let's
all,
hope that
have they?
Paddy Vieira, I mean, listen, if there's one guy that can do it with his, he's a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to listen to
You
him
never
when he
know.
speaks.
It could be a potential future Arsenal man.
Could
do,
I was just
could
about
do,
to ask you
yeah.
on that. I was just about to ask you on that.
You never
Could see
know.
that.
Big up to
Football's
Agent
a
E.
funny game.
AGT is honorary black. Fair enough, thank you, bro. Big up to Push Pajo, who says, for a team like Spurs moving on, how much is retaining Kane part of the future plan as compared to building a team for the near future? Because clearly things didn't work out with Kane leading the team. Anyone want to jump in on that?
I mean, with Kane, what have they won? Absolutely nothing, right? They haven't won anything. So how
without
important
him,
is
they'd be even further away.
Well, you could say that,
Relegation.
but at the end of the day, Tottenham need to reinvest in their squad and they need to balance out their squad. It's all good having Kane up top banging in the goals, but if your defence and your midfield is awful, then you're not going to win anything, and they haven't won anything. So unless they're going to get reinvestment from elsewhere, then maybe they have to sell Kane, at a high price to balance out the whole squad and build again. But this whole fear of losing Kane, like what are you achieving with Kane? Absolutely nothing. So you have nothing to lose. That's how I see it.
But you know what I'm going to say? Like, you are right there, but let's be honest. Maybe not Liverpool, but he would walk into Arsenal, Chelsea.
I think he'd walk into Liverpool as well.
Newcastle's team.
How could he not
The
walk
guy's
into
quality,
Liverpool? I think. I think he'd
Yeah,
walk
I
into
think
every
he-
I
team.
think he'd walk into pretty much every team.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's just because of the way you guys play.
Yeah.
But I think, let's face it, man, he's
Oh, he's
clearly
walking.
way
Walking.
above Lukaku. And with respect to Newcastle, I mean, Chris Wood.
Different guy, mate. Different guy, mate.
Only just. It's only just. It's touching.
replacing Chris
And even
Wood
Arsenal,
next
man. I
season,
mean,
though,
as much
but-
as I love Lacazette and that, man, you can't compare him.
He's
to-
Arsenal fan, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So he's the only thing I'm thinking about Kane, he may have missed the boat with City
I think
now,
so,
innit?
yeah. I was
Yeah,
just
he may
about-
have. Yeah.
So where does he go? He's probably going to end up going abroad, isn't he?
Well, City look to be getting Haaland, don't they? Apparently,
Yeah.
we believe
So that
all the
rules that
reports.
out,
So
really.
I think
where
Kane,
is he
you're
gonna
probably
go?
looking at him having to go abroad.
Which I think he might not want to do, because we all know how much he wants to get that goal scoring
Yeah,
Premier League record
yeah,
off Alan Shearer, doesn't he? And
And I hope I'm not being disingenuous, but Harry Kane to me doesn't look like that kind of cosmopolitan guy.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Going to go abroad and learn the language.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Am I being...
No, you're
you're
spot on. No, you're spot on.
You
I
don't
don't see
look
it
like
either.
that type of
I
guy.
don't
he
see
needs
it.
to learn English first before he tries to learn really Spanish or Italian, mate.
Let's go! But he's a hell of a player, though. I think we all got to admit that. He's a hell of a
listen,
player.
what a striker.
I would take him at Chelsea, 100%.
Yeah,
If you
I
could
could
swap him with Lukaku
I'd swap
today,
him
you would,
tomorrow.
wouldn't you?
I'd swap him tomorrow.
100%,
Conte's still there and he wants Lukaku back so they can hug and stuff. Then yeah.
And with age, he's actually becoming a better player because he's scoring.
You don't, I wouldn't expect him to
Yeah.
decline with age. He hasn't really ever relied on pace, has he? He's always been that type of technical player that drops deep. So he's going to get better with age, I think, as well.
Let's jump back to the FA Cup. Thank you for the super chat. Let's get back into our score predictions for Palace versus Everton. We'll start with you, Laurie. What's the score in that one at Selhurst Park?
Like I said, Everton, they've got much bigger fish to fry. I think they're going to rest quite a few players. For Palace, this is a real opportunity for them to go on, and because they're not going to get relegated, they're not going to qualify for Europe. They will be thinking this is a real opportunity. They've got some exciting young players, and they'll be looking at a possibility of a Wembley place and think, yeah, man, let's go for it. So yeah, I'm totally convinced. And when I say total, I'm not totally because it's football. But I do think that Palace will win by a couple of goals today.
Interesting. I'm going to go with a Palace 2-1 win. Matty, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go for a 3-1 Palace win. Yeah, gonna have too much for them. I think Everton will probably make a couple of changes as well after only playing on Thursday night against Newcastle. So yeah, Palace will breeze through that one, I think.
Interesting. No chance there for Everton from Matisse.
I'm going to go 3-0 Palace.
Oof.
Really nice. Really
I think
nice.
Palace will wipe them. Palace are comfortable in the league. They're happy. They're on the beach. And I think Everton, they've got bigger problems. So if Frank doesn't rotate, I'd be surprised.
Let us know in the comments what you think that one is going to be. Crystal Palace versus Everton. Let's move on to the game after that tomorrow. Southampton versus Manchester City. Southampton and City have met 3 times in the same campaign for the 2nd time this season, so they're quite used to playing them 3 times already in the league this season. Since Pep Guardiola joined City ahead of the 2016-17 campaign, Southampton have managed to win just 1 of 13 clashes between the 2 teams. But they have Southampton have only lost 3 of the last 18 FA Cup matches, 2 of which have come in the semi-final stage at Wembley. Saints are unbeaten in their last 8 in the competition since a 5-0 loss to Arsenal in the 4th round in 2017. So the stats are all leaning towards a Man City win. Obviously, they're trying to win a domestic trophy that could be added to by the Premier League, of course, but we've already nicked one off them. So they'll be looking up.
He set himself up and then he scored the goal.
Assist and
goal for Alex.
I'm taking the corner. I'm running the box.
I was expecting the job of saying that or mention the quadruple.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We've got a whole section planned for that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Don't tell him that, man. Don't tune up.
It's about an hour long. No, I'm joking. Predictions for this one, chaps, because again there will be changes. Southampton are going to give this everything they've got.
Yeah, I think honestly I could see City. I'm expecting a big reaction from Man City after that Monday night performance where they weren't bad, but obviously they couldn't find the back of the net. I think they'll find the back of the net several times against Southampton. To be honest with you, I'm going to go big. We know Southampton like to get beat 9-0. I've had a couple of 9-0 defeats in the last couple of years. I'm going to go for like 5-6-0, man.
Whoa, really? You think it's going to be that big?
It's going to be that big.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Big reactions.
Mind you, when Southampton get tonked, they do get tonked.
They will
They don't lose games like this one.
Capitulation.
Wow, 6-0.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Do you know what, Matisse? What are you going to go for?
I think Southampton got a chance.
I do. I think
They
more
took
than
points
Matty
off of them.
thinks.
They were the first team to stop them on their long run
Matty.
of constant wins. So I'm going to go over Southampton. I'm going to go over Southampton win. I'm going to go 1-0 Southampton.
Do you know what? I'll go with that as well.
Yeah.
Southampton 1-0 winners. Listen, if City don't win this game, like I said, we're all confident that City can perform and easily score a lot of goals. But if they don't, let's say they do lose this one, Laurie, that would be a draw in the league, out of the FA Cup.
Pep out.
I mean, obviously we're not at that stage, but is there going to be rumours of maybe a bit of a, I don't know, capitulation was a good word, so we'll go with that again. So that's why the pressure is on them massively to bounce back.
I hear what you're saying, and I do also hear what Matisse is saying, but you've got to go with the quality, man. I think City will prevail. It will be a tough game for them because Southampton will come at them.
This is everything for them. Season's done for Southampton. This is everything. I fear those mid-table teams in the FA Cup still because they have nothing else to play for. They just chuck everything out.
And I was at the Southampton West Ham game in the FA Cup in the last round because obviously living in Southampton at the minute, doing up uni, and they were very good there. They were very good. They dominated the game, comfortable 3-1 winners. So they might be up for the cup, but I just think City will have too much quality.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. We've got a 4-0 City, 4-1 City, 9-0, 5-0. Some real big predictions there. Yeah. Big up to Kyriakos, who says, why is the Newcastle fan dressed like he's in witness protection?
I've seen that.
When does witness protection?
Why are you getting so many comments of your clothes? It must be the hat.
Just jealousy, innit? That's all it is.
Unbelievable. Jean Tigana at Fulham. Oh, God. I'm not too sure what that means. Oh no, we're talking about black managers. There we go.
Yeah. That was a while ago.
He had the little toothpick in his mouth all the time.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, big up. Right, before we round up on the FA Cup games, we've got one more to preview, and that is, of course, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. First meeting in any competition since 1999. That was a 2-2 draw, and I think Pierre Van Hooijdonk scored a last-minute equaliser for Forest. Yeah. Big game. Liverpool winless in their last 12 away games at Forest in all comps, dating back to 1984. It's actually our longest winless away run against an opponent since Arsenal in 2000 to 2011. We've obviously won a lot of time since that, obviously. But yeah, big game this for Jurgen Klopp. He's never actually reached the quarterfinals with Liverpool before.
Has he not?
No, never. I'm going obviously with the Liverpool win, even though, having said that, it's going to be a hell of a tough game when you think of their crowd that they're going to be giving it bifters 6 o'clock on a Sunday night. They're going to be raucous in there. They've already beaten Arsenal, Leicester. So this is no walkover for Liverpool, but even with our changes that we are going to make, I'm hearing that Minamino's playing, Origi's playing, Harvey Elliott's coming back in. I still think we'll just about have enough. What do you think, Matty?
I think, well, in our prediction show, I did back to draw, didn't I? Back to draw. I think it'll be a close game. I think it will go to extra time or penalties, and then it's completely up for grabs then. I mean, Forest, they've looked really good this season, not just in the FA Cup, beating Premier League sides, but in the league as well. They've got some great young talent throughout that team. So it won't be an easy game, mate.
And do you know what, Matisse? This is actually the first game that Liverpool have had away from home in the FA Cup this season.
Okay.
Every game's been at Anfield so far, 3 games at home. Is there anything for Nottingham Forest to cling on to, considering the form that Liverpool are in?
I think there is, because Liverpool, priorities-wise, I think they'd be prioritising the Premier League and the Champions League. So there will probably be changes, and obviously I know the international break's coming up. I'm enjoying going against the grain today. I think I'll go for Nottingham Forest 1-0 win as well.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, the FA Cup, baby.
It's the FA Cup. It's the magic of the FA Cup. I'm expecting shocks. I obviously went for Chelsea win, but there could be a shock there. There could be a shock in the Southampton, or there's one of them got to go out for me. I don't think all 3 teams will go through.
Interesting. Laurie, what do you reckon?
Well, speaking as somebody who supports a club that Forest turned over in this same competition, you would have thought that I will just go automatically and pick Forest. And they do have some young, exciting players, Jed Spencer, Guy Johnson, 1 or 2 other guys. But I just think Liverpool a bit of a juggernaut at the moment, man. You saw the way they turned. They didn't have the greatest game against Arsenal, but they still won. That's a sign of a really good team. I know it sounds cliche, but it is true, let's be honest. I see Liverpool emerging as winners of this game. I'm not saying that they're going to do the quadruple, but the fact that it's out there means that the players are given an extra level of motivation. And I think that that's important in a game like this. So it's not just the fact that, you know, they go through to the next round. They're keeping that dream alive. And I think that the guys who come into the team, because there will be changes obviously, are of sufficient quality, and they will be energised and motivated enough. And then the only bad thing about that, if Liverpool win, is at the end of the game they're going to have to put up with the triple fist bump.
So jealous.
It's becoming a bit cheesy, though.
Can feel it.
Yeah, it is.
But no, on a serious note, I'm sort of leaning towards Liverpool.
Score?
Again, 2-1. I could see Forest
2-1.
scoring, but I see Liverpool getting a couple.
I'm going to go with the 3-2 Liverpool win. I think it will be a mini classic down there. And of course, you mentioned the quadruple. In the script of the show, it does say, a lot of fans are saying quadruple ? We were outside the Emirates on Wednesday night. Again, fans in the moment, emotion is high. They're saying again that quadruple is still there. I personally don't think we'll win the quadruple. I'll say that now. It's never been done before. That's not the reason why I don't think we will.
You might not
but
end
at
up
some
with
point, you might. Well, we've already got something, so that can't be right. Bournemouth 2-0 up, by the way, against Huddersfield away from home. Jeffrey Lerma with the goal. However,
Big goal.
Can Liverpool win the quadruple? Let's go around the table. Matisse.
No, absolutely not.
Reason?
The reason is that I think you're going to have to pick between the Premier League and Champions League.
Let's break it down. FA Cup got Forest, quarter-final now. Champions League got
very easy draw.
Benfica,
very easy
and we
draw.
will very much talk about the Champions League draw after this.
Yeah.
And in the Premier League, you know where we are. So let's look at all of the competitions and break it down.
I just think for me, at some point, you're going to have to prioritise your most important fixture. When you come to those quarterfinals and semi-finals, and you've got Premier League games either side of those, something's got to give. One of them are going to give for me. And that's where I think you'll fall over. I just don't see Liverpool winning every single competition. I don't think you have the capacity.
Facilities. Okay, well, listen, the squad's a lot deeper. You've seen the subs coming on and off and helping out massively. So you're saying no, Matty?
I think you could. I actually think you could. Whether you will or not,
to still be in it though, you have to admit.
I don't know, but when I look at it, the FA Cup, you've got a suitable route there, especially if you get through tomorrow. I think you could go all the way from there and get through that sticky one against Forest. Champions League's yours for the taking with that draw that you've got. You're on the right side of the draw, and the Premier League's going to go down to the wire, but it's going to be very tight. But honestly, with the way he's playing, with the manager you've got, the impact of Luis Diaz, you keep them fit, you could.
He's getting me
You
excited.
won't, but you could.
Is Bayern Munich a good team to come up against in the semi-final?
I'd rather come up
I don't
against
think
them
they're
in the
the same team
semis
that
than
big
an
way.
English team in the
Yeah.
semis. I
fair
think
enough,
they're there
yeah.
for the taking, and they're not as good as they once were last season, where maybe they had the best season that they've ever had under Hansi Flick. I guess that's my turn now, and then we'll come to you. I don't think we will. But can you imagine the scenes? You lot wouldn't even want to see me. I swear to God.
No.
You lot, especially you would not want to see me for months if Liverpool won the quadruple. Take that emotion away and tell me with your head, are Liverpool going to win the quadruple?
No chance.
Right, okay.
Not because they're not. They are a high quality side, Liverpool. But I think Matisse said it as well. The workload is just too great, man. And a lot of those games.
But we've been dealing with it, though, the workload.
So far, yeah, but I mean, there's still a long way to go, isn't it? And I still think that City might hold on to that Premier League title as well.
Interesting. Let us know in the comments. Kloppy's quadruplet says 10 die
Would that
10.
make Jurgen Klopp the greatest manager of all time?
Of course.
Yeah.
Listen,
Not of all time,
Bob,
but-
no, well, listen. Bob Paisley won 19
Great
trophies
Liverpool,
in 9 years. I mean, trophy numbers wise, he's not up there. I think he's won 5 so far. But if he wins another 3, that turns into 8, and then you are really talking about he could be mentioned.
Legendary
Listen, people
status.
say easily he's in the top 3. Shankly, Paisley,
he's
and
got to
Klopp.
be.
He
No,
has
I
to be
rate
in
him
the
as a
top 3.
manager. I'd love it. I mean, so the story goes, Arsenal were close to getting him, or is that right?
Well, he had an interview at United as well.
Oh,
and
did he?
So
Okay.
he
If he
probably
was to
went
win
around the
the-
block, you know.
Quadruple, is he in Pep land now in terms of on his level?
If
as
he
a
wins a
manager?
quadruple, he's eclipsed Pep in terms of
Two
being able
Champions
to win the
Leagues,
Champions
two
League,
Premier
2
Leagues.
Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
I would say, listen,
probably-
that if they win the league, that's 4 in the last 5. But if we can get 2 within
Yeah.
this period of greatness,
plus 2 Champions
plus
Leagues.
2 Champions Leagues,
Something
Forget
Pep-
about
something
trophies.
Pep
Do you think
hasn't
he's a
done.
better manager than Pep?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do you really
Yeah.
believe that?
I do as well.
I do.
Why
Give,
is that?
give Pep what Klopp has had. Pep can't do what Klopp
But we
has
don't know
done.
that because we haven't seen Pep do it.
Of course,
have we?
but Pep has always had clubs where it's
Best team.
It's there
basically
for
a
you.
blank
Most
check.
money.
Fair for you.
I think that's a valid argument.
Man manager, motivational manager, the man that you will run through a wall for and fight till the death is Jurgen Klopp.
But do you think tactically he's as astute as Pep?
Pep has openly said many times Liverpool's the hardest team he's ever faced in management.
No, but that's
Yeah, but Pep
that's
chat's
slightly
shit.
different.
well, listen,
He said
everyone-
we were
everyone puts
better
him-
than them as well because we were world champions. I
Yeah,
was like,
but
talking
listen,
rubbish.
Pep does a bit of that, I agree. But at the same time, everyone has him as the number one, whether it's right or wrong. So for him to say Liverpool's the best team I face, Klopp's teams are, he called them annoying. He was like, they just won't go away, and I think you have to respect that. I mean, it's going to be difficult, but can we do it? Let us know in the comments. Just one on Firmino as well. Obviously scored against Arsenal. That second goal came again in the script, Laurie. You guys just think I'm making this
Every
up on the spot.
opportunity this man
What does
gets.
that say? How do you rate Firmino in Premier League history? The highest goal-scoring Brazilian in Premier League history. That was confirmed a while back, to be fair.
We haven't had the greatest
and I think he's
Brazilians in this
approaching
country.
100 goals for Liverpool in all comps. A lot of Premier League goals. Really scores important ones as well. Where does he rank in terms of Premier League strikers in the modern era?
He's got the best
linking up
teeth.
the play, of course. Yeah.
Where does he rank over the last 10 years, 20 years?
Well, he's been in the league since 2015. Since then, you could probably name about maybe 5 players in the league, strikers that have been better than him. I'm talking about Aguero in that time, Vardy, obviously the 3
Kane.
Liverpool lads. Suarez had left then. Kane, obviously. But he's
Aubameyang.
definitely in that top 10.
Costa.
Aubameyang.
Chris Wood.
Costa.
Not sure about Chris Wood. Not sure about Chris Wood. But Firmino is hella underrated, as Ant-Man says.
I like Firmino. I do like him.
He is a good
He's
player.
he was never a striker in the first place. I think people forget that. He was a 10, and then he obviously was put as a striker in this Liverpool system. But he's always been underrated because he's selfless. He does the job that the other two then don't have to do. They get to, spearhead the attack. They get to make those inverted runs. They get to get the goals. They get to take the limelight, while Firmino does all of the dog work in the middle and does all the link-up play and all the things that are important to keep the... he is the glue. He was the glue for the first few years. Then Jota comes in, obviously, and he's now got competition. But yeah, I've always rated Firmino. Technically he's a very good player. I think his finishing last season, I think it was absolutely horrendous. I don't know what happened to him. I would never say I'm judging Firmino purely based on goals, never, because that's not his job. But some of the finishing was becoming a bit disturbing, and it was getting to the point now where even I am looking at you like, come on now, where's the goals for Firmino? It was a crazy record he was going on without goals, but yeah, he's a solid player.
Very
71 goals, 45 assists in 220 odd games. More goals in the Champions League. In 17-18 he scored 27 goals in all comps, which isn't bad for a number 10.
Big up 10 Datum there as well. Just give him a shout out from the Philippines, Newcastle fan. Big up yourself, mate. Thanks for tuning in from the Philippines.
We're the lads in the Philippines. Listen, we're not saying he's top 5, but I do think he has to be in that conversation. And for me personally, as a Liverpool fan, I love him. He's genuinely one of my favourite players of the Premier League era. And I definitely think he needs a new contract. So let us know in the comments if you agree with that one.
How old is he now?
30.
New contract, yeah.
30, I think. Definitely give him one
when
more.
is current deal running out?
I think it's next summer. So definitely due a contract.
Do you think Salah will sign?
I mean, we've spoken about this so much this week with Robbie, with everyone else. I do think he'll sign. It will be like a lastminute.com kind of push.
What did you make of his agent with those?
Oh, it was horrible.
Emojis?
It was horrible.
That was a bit.
What did he do?
And Salah can't be happy with that as well. Salah doesn't want someone representing him to be on Twitter putting out 5 laughing emojis,
thought that was kind of
which I think is actually a bit massively
Low-key
disrespectful to Liverpool.
What was that in relation to?
I think it was to the contract that we offered.
The offer.
Oh right, so he just responded like that. It's very immature, isn't
Come
it?
on, bro.
You're meant to be
and
an
if you
agent.
do that, you're just in it for the money. If you're laughing at, I mean, Salah, from where he's come from in life to be getting around about £400,000 a week offers, and then your agent's doing that, sack him. Sack the
It's a
agent.
big call.
Sack the agent. Let us know in the comments again if you
No,
agree
but
on
did
that.
Salah come out and condemn it? He didn't, did he?
No, but he did a post very shortly after, and I think it said, it's one of them motivational ones that Salah does, picture of him celebrating saying 9 games to go or something like that until we could possibly
9 games
win.
to go until I leave Liverpool.
Join Newcastle.
Easy, lads. Easy. Not happening. I can put my house on that for sure. New contract all day long for Bobby Firmino, says Roy Smith. Ilyas saying, imagine if United finished 10th. We were speaking about them right up next.
One of those guys have got to go though. They're not going to keep order. Will it be Mane?
No, I do think they'll all stay.
You think
at least
Mane will
They'll all stay
for
and-
sure.
and-
Well, listen,
and-
they've all got 2 years left on their contract, so they have to, or a year at least. Alec, can you imagine rivals when we close the deal? I think a lot of rivals are going to be hating on that one.
What,
if
Salah?
Liverpool managed to get him to sign on that
No,
dotted
I
line.
like Salah, man. He's a hell of a player. I like Salah.
I don't think
I'd rather
anybody.
him stay in the Premier League as
Yeah, I
well.
don't
'Cause
think
he'd probably
any-
go to Madrid or something.
I don't
like
think
that,
anybody
so.
expects him to go. I don't think anybody's going to be shocked if he stays. Where is he really going? Apart from PSG, he's not going to Madrid. He's not going Barcelona. So where is he actually
Definitely not
going?
going back to Chelsea.
for
he's
sure.
not coming back
What
to
happened
Chelsea.
at Chelsea then with Salah?
He wasn't
Didn't work out
this
for him,
good.
did it?
He developed. He wasn't this good. I think the only player that I really regret letting go is Kevin De Bruyne because he was very good. He won
Even at
player-
Chelsea, yeah?
Yeah, he was player of the year I think in Wolfsburg. And
On loan?
on loan, and we let him go because Jose Mourinho didn't have any patience. Salah was touch and go. Sometimes he had good games. Scored against Arsenal in the 6-0 win against Wenger.
I remember that.
But then he had an absolutely atrocious performance against Shrewsbury in the cup. Skied it out for a throw-in from a shot. So he was up and down. But he went to Italy, developed, went to Fiorentina, went Roma, and then Liverpool got him. So, but do you know what? It was with Salah. Everyone says he's got no technical ability. If you watched him at Basel, he was so good technically. Roma. So I think he's adapted his game to be more efficient. Kind of the way Ronaldo did at Man United, where, yeah, he could do all the skill, the step overs, everything, but Ferguson was like, you can do all that, but you can also then go and score some goals if you want as well. And obviously he became a lot more efficient throughout his career.
And I guess you got to credit, dare I say it, Klopp.
Yeah,
dare
he's
you
made
say
him more
it?
efficient.
No, because we've been talking
Just
about
hates
Klopp.
giving any kind
Dare
of
I say it?
compliment.
No, but you have to give Klopp credit because he's clearly improved him as a player.
Yeah, he has. He's made him efficient. He's made him
And that's
he's
what
built
really
for
good managers
purpose.
It's
Do
one
you
of
know what I
those
mean?
things in football where his career and Klopp's career just aligned at the perfect time,
Yeah.
and he's just taken him to a new
You
level,
make that sound
physical,
so
emotionally.
romantic.
It is romantic. How that Egyptian darling has come into our club, the beautiful man, and just basically almost not single-handedly, because there's been other great players as well, but his rise. I mean, closing in on 200 goals for Liverpool now. It's just
I think
unbelievable.
him not getting the Ballon d'Or, I think that
Wow,
was
what a joke.
That was borderline
And he
criminal.
knows that as well, and he's been
That was
outspoken about
borderline
that too.
criminal. And I've got to say this, man. If he had not been who he is, maybe been
If he wasn't African, basically.
or European,
Well, Mendy
had
was-
been
yeah.
European, he would have got it.
Same with the goalkeeping.
massively shafted as well, bro.
Yeah, for goalkeepers.
Massively.
They gave it to Donnarumma. I was just thinking to myself as well, in terms of management, it's only downhill for us, isn't it? Klopp, Tuchel, Pep. You can't. For me, I know we haven't won the Premier League,
been
but
set so high
we
now.
can't get any better than this guy.
Better,
it's only downhill. I actually fear for the day these managers go because I'm depressed.
Yeah, I really would be. Trust me. When Klopp
Tuchel's
leaves,
an
it's a
interesting
sad
one
day.
though, because when he came to Chelsea, there were a few people looking at that sideways, including myself. Because let's face it, he ended his tenure at PSG. A lot of people were looking at him sideways.
He took them to the final of the Champions
He
League.
did, but I think a few people thinking. But to be fair to him, he's done very well.
I think PSG are just. They're just a mess, you know. Look at them, Leonardo punching up people behind the scenes and whatnot.
He's really? He's done
well,
that?
after the Real Madrid game,
Prison
apparently
man.
there was a massive fight or behind the scenes for PSG after they lost to Real
Yeah,
Madrid.
there
There was a
was.
big fight.
So they should be.
UEFA were looking for the footage from Real Madrid staff. People were getting like phones getting grabbed up, dashed all over the place. It was crazy. So PSG is an absolute melting pot. Too much politics at that club.
Nobody can do a job at PSG, can they? By the looks of it, anyone who goes in is just doomed.
No.
Yeah, Parisian London are not a good time for you at the minute, mate. Sorry to hear.
To be fair to Parisian Londoner, though, he said, even before I did the watch along for that game, the Real Madrid game, and to be fair to him and Swell, I think his name is, they both were unequivocal, said Pochettino out. We don't.
They basically said reset the whole club.
Yeah,
I watched
they
the
were
video.
saying that the Neymar Messi thing's been a flop. The only decent
Ramos.
player, they said
Flop.
he's been a top. The only
Ronaldo.
players that they were bigging up was Mbappe.
Yeah.
So they called it, man, and they were right. I mean, I've never seen a game like that where they were 1-0 up and cruising.
Yeah,
I seen
And the
it.
minute
Barcelona.
that Madrid came back at them in that second half, they just disintegrated.
But do you remember
Totally bottled it.
Barcelona as well?
Yeah,
The first leg to the second.
Yeah.
Neymar absolutely dismantled them in the second leg for Barcelona. That team, they're the European Tottenham. They are literally just bottle jobs, absolute bottle jobs. Whenever you need, and it's funny because the one player they signed to fix that mentality, because the other signings, Hakimi, Donnarumma, Messi, they were not really mentality merchants. You know what I mean?
Ronaldo
Sergio
was,
Ramos, Sergio Ramos and
Ronaldo
Ronaldo,
was.
but neither of them were involved, and then hence you see capitulation.
Yeah, that's our key word today. Capitulation.
We love that word.
Used it a
We
lot
love
today.
that word.
Big up to
Yeah,
Akash.
that capitulation was spectacular.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
Almost as
Because
bad as your
literally
Air
in that
Forces.
first half, they were running things. They scored the goal.
Gave it away
Mbappe
from
was on
kickoff
fire.
and Donnarumma mistake
And
as
as
well.
soon as Madrid came back at them just a little bit,
Yeah.
you could see them get shaky. You could see it happening. And then Real Madrid scored, and from then on, it was
Capitulation.
absolute capitulation.
Big up to
Capitulation.
Akash. I can definitely see Newcastle moving for Mane. I'm not too sure about that one. Let's get back on to Manchester United.
hope so.
This panel just got very interested if that happens.
Can you imagine? Jesus. Ramos only played twice apparently for PSG now. But let's
Yeah.
go on to Manchester United. Obviously a massive defeat for them in the Champions League.
Ah, lovely.
Rashford in the news for
Was it a massive
reacting-
defeat, though?
Well, in
I
terms
think it
of what
was.
it meant.
Yeah.
In terms of how
Season's
yeah,
over.
They didn't lose
Season's
5-0,
over, yeah.
but it's
Season's
a
done.
massive defeat.
But let's be honest, man. I wasn't expecting them to beat.
No,
Atletico.
I don't think
They-
they were the
their fan
favourites,
base
to be
certainly
honest.
was
Because
expected
even
to
in
beat
that
Atletico.
first leg,
Neeks was so confident that
Yeah,
they
he
were.
Everybody was. All the main
misguided though.
fans were.
It's misguided on arrogance, isn't it? Because let's face it, in that first leg,
Yeah.
you take away that Alanga goal, man, they were getting battered in that game for the most part.
Yeah.
I think they were just hoping that Ronaldo was going to turn it
Yes,
win it
yes.
himself, like he did against Spurs. To be fair,
Shakira, I call him. Hips don't lie. I mean, the man, you know what I mean, against City, you know what I mean, he said he was injured,
Yeah.
hip
Yeah.
flexors. Was it because he knew he was going to be on the
Benched.
bench?
Well,
who
interesting.
knows?
Ronaldo
Couldn't
don't do
handle it.
benches.
Yeah.
Then
But Rashford getting that abuse, quote unquote abuse from the fans and giving a little bit back. He's obviously come out and said it wasn't a middle finger. He was beckoning them to come
But it
over.
was.
Got dragged away by
my
the
thing is, why are you
stewards.
apologising?
I
that's the thing.
completely
That's
agree
the
with
why are
Ian
you
Wright.
apologising?
Why are you apologising? It's not like you went over and stuck one on somebody or you were swearing, right? You
would
just
mean
said,
that.
say it to my face.
Even if you were swearing, what's the big deal? You're a grown
Yeah.
adult. Like
These people had camped outside there to personally abuse you. I don't know the nature of the abuse, but it sounded pretty, you know what I mean.
The thing
wrong.
is with players though, and with Rashford, it would have been someone on his PR team would have said, "Oh, you need to come out and apologise.
Yeah.
That this is not good." Look,
His
you know,
PR
everything that's
team.
going. Just we've seen them being himself, being a human, he's getting abuse. You know, we'd probably do it if you're feeling like shit and you're getting shit. You're
You've
probably
got
going
two
to
options. You either walk and ignore it, or you might come back at him and do that, or whatever it is, and just keep it moving. For him to, I thought that was a bit weak, actually.
Very weak.
For him to come out the next day and be apologising. Why are you apologising for? Nobody didn't even really say like, what Rashford's behaviour was disgraceful. And maybe that kind of tells you where his headspace is at.
Socials every time.
You know what I mean? You need to
focus on
man up, man, and focus on your football and get your form right.
Can't say that anymore.
But apologising to me, just that was a weak moment for me, bro. I don't know how you guys feel.
I think Ian Wright got it spot on.
He
It's
did.
like
He did,
you can have your moment of retaliation as a human being. So why do you feel like you need to come out and apologise for that? Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't even a big moment. Like you said, it was. I seen it as two grown men telling each other to F off, and that's it. Like that's all I really seen from it. And I think this whole
Jamie Carragher, he would have spat in the fan's face.
I think this whole like meeting Barack Obama and the kids have got your book and they're signing and they're reading it and all of this extra stuff around his name, MBE. He's forgetting that he's just Marcus Rashford, the footballer. Like all this extra stuff around him is almost clouding him, and
I agree.
It's messing
Interesting
him up.
from Yodit, who said in the comments there, why do the fans think they can give him abuse and not expect some kind of retort back? I mean, you can get away with it when it's 90,000 people shouting down from the gods, but when you're actually within close proximity, if you're going to give it to someone, like you said, you either carry on walking or you react.
It's one of the two. And let's have it right. I'm not advocating that he jump over there and start swinging
him
you
up.
know what I mean? Like Eric Cantona. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying these people had camped outside there looking to have a pop at you, and they are disgraceful as well. Who does that? What kind of idiots do that? But it's
Missed the last
football,
train home for that.
and we know it happens. But at the end of the
Back to
day,
London.
you then have two choices as a footballer. You can either ignore it, which in retrospect is probably best doing, or if you want to turn around and give them the bird and say, whatever, you're perfectly entitled to do that, in my opinion. And for you to then take the other option of addressing it, and then less than a day later, you're putting videos out, I'm sorry. It's just like, bro, it was weak for me, bro.
Yeah.
And it kind of epitomised how he's been on the pitch. He just looks lost.
He was hopeless when he came on, mate. He couldn't even touch the ball. He was touching it, was going out of play, he was running away from it, didn't want it.
Mind wasn't there, was it?
No, I mean, there was some talk earlier on in the season that he'd had some domestic problems, split up with his girlfriend. He's now back with her. You kind of wonder maybe off the pitch matters are starting to affect his form on the pitch, because he doesn't look anywhere near the player that he did a couple of years ago. And that's quite sad, actually.
I think he could do with a fresh start. I think Manchester United may be too big. Man United is a massive club. There's a lot of pressure for players, and we've seen better players fall. You know, Di Maria. You know, so many players have gone there, and it's not worked out for them.
Absolutely.
I think there's no harm in him getting a fresh start. And I think too many players at Manchester United. You look at Lingard as well. Could have gone to West Ham, ends up staying. Too many players at Manchester United are so desperate to bring that club back to where it once was. They just prolong the inevitable. They end up wasting their whole career trying to fix Manchester United when really they need to fix themselves.
Well, you say they need to fix themselves. I read somewhere the other day, someone breaking down how many years they think it will take United to really rebuild and be title winners again. 2 to 3 years to get rid of the deadwood, 2 to 3 years to build, and then in the next 2 to 3 years after that, you're looking at a league title. But if we add those years up, that could be 9 years.
Yeah.
It's already been 9 years since they didn't win the league. So all of a sudden, trust me, as a Liverpool fan, that 5 years turns into 10, 15, 20, and before you know it, you're well behind.
Yeah.
How many years do you think it's going to take for them to rebuild totally and get back up there in the number one spot?
I think they'll have a period of minimum 17, 18 years without a title. I mean, they're about to touch 10
How many?
years. 17, 18 years
In
it will be
total.
without a title
Oh,
for
in
me.
total?
Yeah, in total, yeah.
Should be
It's 9 years.
It's 9 years
2050
already.
maybe.
Yeah, it's 9 years already. So I expect another 9 years. You know, because I don't see Man City giving them a sniff. I don't see Liverpool look like they're starting to build their next squad now of the Jotas, the Diaz's, the Konates. They're starting to build their next era. Chelsea are in limbo. I don't know what's going to happen with us, but as long as we get good ownership, then we'll hopefully. But I can't speak on Chelsea because they're completely changing their whole format. And Arsenal, you know, are already.
We're nowhere
you're way
near,
off, but you're Man United.
you
Man
might be
United are
closer
behind
than
you.
them, though.
You're closer than
I
them.
think you're
You're
definitely
closer
closer,
than them for sure because
Yeah,
you've
man.
actually you've now cleared your deadwood. Not all of it. Maybe I still say some players need to go, but you've started to cleanse your squad. I would say, and Man United they haven't even started that. So you're ahead of them.
I would disagree with that. I would say United are a managerial appointment away from reclaiming for glories. They've just got to.
Do you think they could do it with this? Do you think they could do it with this group of players?
Laurie, there's a lot of work to do there. Bro.
There is a lot of work, but if you get the right man in charge, like you guys did,
it's not easy.
That's
of course it's not.
isn't it?
It's a big if.
But people saying, "Oh, root and branch review and total restructure," I'm not so sure.
It will be
If
total.
you get the
though,
right
don't you
man
think?
in charge, and you get the right mindset of the club, I think you can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be done in a season or two, but what I am saying is you're one managerial appointment away, because you have to remember the sheer size of the club and the aura and the way they're able to attract people there. It's not going to be like the Arsenals of this world, or even our Chelsea or Newcastle with you guys. You know what I mean? Just United, it's like a...
But we said the same with Liverpool, and Liverpool were down there in the dumps with Paul Konchesky for quite some time. So, do you know what I mean?
That's reminding me,
I look at Man United, I see Pogba's going, Ronaldo, you don't build around
Cavani's
Ronaldo, Cavani's
Rashford
done,
maybe.
Rashford,
Martial's
Martial's gone, Van der Beek all over the shop at Everton.
Matic needs to probably
Matic
retire.
done, Mata done, Lingard done, Maguire for me nowhere near good enough. De Gea can't play out from the back. If you're ever looking to play possession-based football, you're screwed there. Wan-Bissaka 50 million done, Shaw done. It's the whole team.
Yeah, when you put it like that.
It's the whole team. You could probably count on one hand how many players they should actually probably build around. You probably say Sancho,
Phil
Elanga,
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones. I forgot he was even there. Phil Jones is still there. My goodness, I forgot all about him.
Once described by Sir Alex as the best
potentially
United player.
You can count on one hand how many players they should actually really keep and build around.
I can't see Man United winning the league.
Give me a year.
Give me the year.
2040.
Wait, what year are we in now?
That's 18 years.
Honestly,
And we haven't even spoken about Newcastle.
I
If
don't
they
think-
get it right
if there's
and
any-
they climb up, then that's another team.
there's
that-
any
the
United
the
that
only
gets involved.
slight problem Newcastle, I think, will have, and it's not going to be the money, obviously, but trying to attract players to your foreign players that probably don't know the dynamics of England the way we know it. You know what I mean?
You could trick
they,
them and
they
say,
might
I don't
think
know.
Newcastle.
Newcastle's
it's a
say the
bit
temperature's
far-flung.
30 degrees.
You know what I
Year
mean?
for you?
What, for United?
Yeah, if we're talking about the rebuild.
Like I said, they're one managerial appointment away
So
from
what's
being
that?
it right.
2 to 4 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
See, even that's quite a long time, and that can add up. Listen, Robbie is going to replace me very shortly. There is a slight substitution to the play today. I'm actually off on holiday. So I've got to get off to
Where
the
you
old
going?
airport. I'm starting off in Tenerife,
Nice.
see my
Going
dad,
on
and
tour.
then we're flying from there to Marrakesh. So I'm very
Lovely.
much looking forward to that. Nice little break.
Well deserved.
The big man himself is going to be replacing me. Thank you very much, you gents. You've still
Enjoy.
got work to do. Don't all get up when I leave. I know
You'll
you-
be back. You'll be
I
back,
know
you're back
you-
next
I know
show,
you
yeah?
miss
You're
me.
leaving us for months.
There is no Saturday football show next week, international break, but
break,
still loads of great content to come on DR Sports, and of course Premier League games tomorrow as well. Spurs, West Ham. Let's see what myself and Luke Vernon thought about this fixture only the other day outside Villa Park before Robbie comes in to join you. Cheers, guys.
West Ham are a weird team, and like sometimes they look like the best when they're playing, and then sometimes they just take like a step back. So we shall see. But the Conte factor has been huge for Tottenham at the moment, whether they win or lose. So it's a hard one to pick, to be honest.
They're kind of both in similar positions. They're not going to get top four, I don't think. They're ranked outsiders for that. But European places are still there. I mean, Tottenham, obviously, with the investment and everything, they're going to be looking for Champions League every year. Whether that's realistic or not, it's a different thing. But for West Ham, they're enjoying the ride. Obviously, they've just been to Sevilla away. Can they get something at the weekend and try and...
Yeah, they could. I think this game can go either way. It depends what team decides to turn up, isn't it? So if the Tottenham team that played Man City turns up, they win. If it's the other Tottenham team that seems to be losing so many games this season, then
After that draw, I make Liverpool my favourites to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
We could see a all English semi-final in Chelsea versus Man City if they both get through. We could see a all Spanish Madrid semi-final if Real Madrid and Atletico both overcome the English clubs.
Fam, I think it's
But
Pep season to win
I
though,
think
blood.
Liverpool are looking in good shape
They
for
are.
this, man.
I think Liverpool signing Diaz and Pep not having a striker is a brain problem, blood. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I think Liverpool might have more of a chance of winning the Premier League than actually the Champions League. You know, because I think, over like games, Liverpool's. I think Liverpool can more easily lose on a one-off game rather than a
They're
thingy.
not going to lose 2 legs.
Not their next fixture.
Benfica.
I'm not talking about Benfica. I'm talking about winning. Bruv, there's more games than Benfica.
They probably get.
I can see City beat, like for example, yeah. If it's City Liverpool, I can see. I know Liverpool beat them already, but I swear, Pep, yeah, this is his moment for the Champions League, fam.
If he
needs it,
this,
blood.
and that's the thing, he's under pressure.
Yeah.
I think of all the managers, Guardiola is under extreme pressure. Liverpool have won it. Bayern have won it.
Chelsea can't win that, but Chelsea
City have never won it. This is their moment.
How
They've got
Chelsea
to
bringing
win it.
that trophy back?
Huh?
How Chelsea bringing that trophy back? Them 2 men riding bikes holding the trophy like that. Chelsea, bro, they might as well disqualify them. They can't bring the trophy back. What's the point? Get them out of there. What a waste of a position. They can't bring the trophy back. You get me? It weighs too much. Remember, they only got 20 grand per game, you know, Robbie, blood. You get me? That's excess suitcase, blood, when you go on the plane, blood. Do you know what I mean? That's excess luggage. You're going to have to pay more. They can't afford to win the Champions League. Do you know?
Right, Liverpool. Back to the Saturday football show. My voice is a little bit hoarse because you know what? For the past hour or so, I've been singing, I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it. Hey, only you can come on here and celebrate, you know. Every week I watch this show. Every week I watch this show, I always hear him, he's through! Yes, get in the Geordie boys! Yes! Come on, baby! Woo! Woo! Well, it's my turn today, man. My turn.
Enjoy it.
Big 3 points for the Arsenal today, right? And that was a massive win for us.
Absolutely.
Big up to Alex. I know he's off now.
On bloody holiday, Bobby.
On holiday, playing this guy too much, isn't it?
Did you find this allocation? You should have. You know
I heard him. Not only is he. Where did he say he's going first?
Tenerife, I think.
Tenerife to Marrakesh. Guy's taking the piss, man. Where'd he go with that from? I was like, Jesus. But listen,
Living life.
welcome back to the Saturday Football Show. Matty, good to see you. Matisse, good to see you.
Yeah.
Laurie, I saw you earlier. Yeah, I'm still buzzing from the win, man.
you're
The
right.
Arsenal win.
You can
that
hear
was-
your voice. It's definitely, taking
It's a massive 3 points, though. It's a massive 3 points. Of course, big game tomorrow, though. Right? Apart from all the FA Cup games that are taking place, huge FA Cup games. But just before I get into some of them FA Cup games, let's talk about that game tomorrow now. Pressure on Tottenham and also pressure on West Ham. The two of them also battling it out for the top 4. How you guys feel? You know, what do you guys reckon of that game?
I think after West Ham's exploits, extra time during the week in Europe, great win for them, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Spurs might just pip them to that, to be honest. Fresher legs and whatnot. Kane's coming onto a bit of form. But it'll definitely be interesting because you have put the pressure on them now to go out and get the job done for fourth place.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to West Ham, it's just, do they have the depth to cover both competitions in terms of Europa League, which they got a good chance at? Lyon, good team, but you know they'll feel like they can definitely go match to match with them, toe to toe. And then Premier League, you're fighting with what, 3-4 teams. For me, I don't think they're going to be able to handle the both competitions. They didn't invest in January and get the depth they need in certain positions like midfield for Rice and Souček and the striker for Antonio. They don't have the depth to compete. So I think Tottenham will win that with Conte.
What about you, Laurie?
Yeah, it's going to be a very good game, very tight. I think us winning today has put pressure on Tottenham. I think it's not so much a free hit for West Ham, but I do believe that Tottenham will persevere at the end. Like you said, Matty, Harry Kane's in an impressive run of form, goal scoring wise, and I think they'll prevail tomorrow.
However, though, West Ham, they've got a good record against Tottenham. They were the first team to go to their new stadium and beat them. Even though they had that game the other day, they'll be pumped up for that because it's Tottenham and the two clubs hate each other. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. And touching on West Ham, let's have a moment for West Ham. They are playing some great stuff this season.
Yeah.
And how impressive was that the other night, Matty?
Yeah, massive.
Sevilla never lost to an English club they have in Europe. Never lost to any English club. They've beaten all of us, right? And West Ham 2-1, and you couldn't write it. Yarmolenko again.
Yeah.
He's he had to go and get his family out of the Ukraine because of the war. Obviously, you can see even when he scores a goal, you can see like his head is not.
It's not in the.
And he got the winning goal again. I mean, it was a great story and a great result. And the London Stadium was buzzing as well, wasn't it? I mean, what a game!
Bubbles everywhere. The real fairy tale
Yeah.
stuff, that one, and real fairy tale stuff for
I must say,
Yarmolenko.
if this game had been at the London State, I would have gone for West Ham.
Yeah.
I just think that the way the elements are played out, Tottenham being at home, like you said, West Ham having that, let's face it, it was a difficult game for them.
Yeah,
I just
100%.
think that Tottenham
Went to
might
extra
have a-
time as well.
Tottenham will have a slight edge, and I think that might play out for a victory.
These
for them.
fixtures for West Ham in Europa League are the biggest fixtures in their history. Do you remember
Yeah.
when Fulham went into the Europa League? I think
Yeah,
we
got
spoke
the-
about
got
it a
the
few weeks
final,
ago.
didn't
Bobby Zamora, Dempsey, you know, and they got to the final. They beat Juventus in the semi-final.
They
Bobby
did.
Zamora free kick, but then they lost to Atletico Falcao in the final. These clubs this is the pinnacle for a lot of these clubs,
Yeah.
because obviously they want Champions League football, but it's very difficult to get Champions League football. We see Leicester back-to-back fifth place finishes just missing out year after year, and obviously the spending power is not balanced. So the Europa League is the pinnacle for them, and we forget them if they win the Europa League, they qualify for the Champions League.
Qualify for the
So
Champions
that's
League.
another route, and you get silverware.
And it's winnable.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's winnable. I mean, they've got Lyon in the next round.
Yeah.
If they was to win that game, which I think they're favourites to win that.
They could do it.
Because, you
it'll
know,
be
Lyon have not been having a great season in France.
Wouldn't
But
they get Barcelona?
They'd have to get, they've got
Yeah,
Barcelona
Barcelona's
in
the one, isn't it?
in the semis.
Yeah.
Which would be tough, but I wouldn't say it's not
Impossible, not the same
Barcelona
Barcelona.
really picked it up recently, but it's not the Barcelona of old, is it?
I think the confidence that West Ham can take after beating Sevilla will be huge throughout this tournament. now.
Yeah.
Because they were one of the favourites. Sevilla, a very good side. For them to go on and
Serial
get
winners
through.
of the competition as well.
Yeah, I think they'll do bits for them, and maybe tomorrow they'll already have one eye on just thinking about the Europa League. To be honest,
I would if I was
they
them.
should be
I
focused
don't
on
think
that.
so, man. It's Tottenham, and I think I think they'll want to win that game. They'll want to go to their fans will be buzzing, and they'll want to go there and put up a show. And I'll tell you what, there was some impressive performance. Mikel Antonio the other night.
Physically, though, can they do it?
he was
The
brilliant.
thing. Yeah, physically, can they go to Tottenham for a full 90? I think they'll give it their best in the first half. Maybe start now 60
No, but it's
minutes
not
onwards.
like. Sorry to cut it down, Matisse, yeah, but it's not like they got a game during the week or even next weekend.
Yeah.
That's true.
After this weekend, it's an international
more
break,
push,
so they
true.
can go out there and blast it, and then you got 2 weeks off.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that that game could be a lot closer than what a lot of people think. I really do. It wouldn't surprise me if West Ham got a result in that game.
I think it'll be close, but I would probably just say
still good.
like a Spurs 3-2, Spurs 2-1.
3-2.
Yeah.
Where you going?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game because I think they've both got the same number of points, haven't they? West
Yeah.
Ham and Tottenham, and so it's got all the makings of a very tight game. But I just think that with Kane and with Son up front, I just think
I'm going 2-1 to West Ham.
Whoa,
right?
whoa,
Yarmolenko
whoa,
again.
whoa.
The fairy story continues.
That'd be amazing.
Yarmolenko represented the Ukraine, does it again. 2-1
Mad.
to West Ham. West Ham will want to win that game.
Oh,
They
they
will
will.
go there and lay down.
But
and
Tottenham
die.
will want to win it as well. That's
Tottenham
the
need
thing.
to win it.
They have
Need
to win it.
That's the
Yeah.
key. That's the key. Need to win it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is about it is like what you guys are saying. Even with West Ham, they've got another pathway to the Champions League. Tottenham don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say as well, do you guys mind if West Ham win the Europa League? I wouldn't actually mind. I know they're a London rival in a sense, but it would be interesting to see them win it.
I wouldn't mind if they won the Europa League. Even though we never hear the end of it because they'd be like, yeah, Robbie, we won it. What you did? You know what I mean? It's already a lot of West Ham fans that I meet. That there's a black cab driver the other day when I've got him. His first thing he said to me, he goes, King's London, isn't it? King's London. I go, oh, not another Chelsea fan. He goes, piss off, West Ham, mate. I go, bloody hell. Right,
so
listen,
Luton have gone 2-0 up now.
2-0
Luton
up,
have gone
big
2-0
game.
up.
Wow.
Another goal for Luton.
Promotion pushes
2-0
looking
up.
bad.
They're really pushing for promotion.
Yeah.
Playoff.
Really pushing for
Luton.
playoff places, yeah. But yeah, no, West Ham, I messaged Nicky the other night after watching the game and I said, listen, I'm really pleased for you, bro.
Yeah.
And he messaged me back and he said the place was absolutely buzzing, you know what I mean? So I don't mind West Ham. I wouldn't mind them winning it.
Yeah.
Especially if
mind
Yarmolenko scores the winner of the final. Get that in.
The
Get that
other
in.
night when he scored that winner, trust me, you're watching something, you're just like,
Yeah, it's one of their moments.
it's just an unbelievable moment. So,
You know,
and I
I'm
think
gonna
David
say that.
Moyes, what a manager! He's got a shout for manager of the season.
Yep, he does. Especially if they were to win it, he definitely should be getting manager of the season, I think. I mean, he's literally, that's his level, isn't it? Because he obviously went to Man United, it didn't quite work out. But before that, people forget Everton, he was there for ages. And he was in that kind of 5th, 6th position, Tim Cahill, Mikel Arteta, all these players. So that's kind of his just on the outskirts. And
Actually, you know what, Matisse, you make a good point, because when you look at that now, so David Moyes, even Arteta,
yeah,
managers that come in haven't immediately sort of done it, but the clubs have kind of stuck by them and said, nah, we believe in this guy. So they've done it with Moyes, they've done it with Arteta. Is this showing us that sometimes they need to stick with managers more now? This just sacking managers. I mean, we've seen Watford sack 3 managers this season.
yeah.
Is it time for some of these clubs now to have a bit more faith in some of these managers? Because some of these managers don't get a chance, do they?
Yeah, I think Watford are. Their way they've been run has been very knee-jerk. You know, it's literally been based on the new manager's effect. I know. That's what I was about to say. Coming from a Chelsea fan, but they've still been worse. I think they've still been worse recently than us.
No, but you know the ironic thing about it is that sort of hire and firing policy has worked for both clubs over the years.
It has. But I think now is the time to stop it, because I don't think it works anymore to the same effect. And we had to sack Frank Lampard because he clearly, for me, wasn't good enough. But now Tuchel, yes, you have to stick with him. So I definitely think there is a changing of hiring and firing, and now trying to go with longevity. You look at, there's some good managers in the league. You know, Eddie Howe. Yeah. You probably will stick with him for a good number of years. You know, everyone's talking about who's the next guy, linking you with Conte. But if Eddie Howe's doing a great job and he's got those players on side, and he did very well at Bournemouth, people forget, then why would you sack him?
Yeah, I think with managers sometimes it's the level of expectation, though, isn't it? Because although Eddie Howe, he looks a good manager, and stuff like that. I mean, he is a good manager, no doubt about it. But it's when the levels of expectation step up. So with Newcastle in maybe years to come, when Eddie Howe's there, he spent a lot of money. Yep. It's not going to be just a case of keeping Newcastle in the league. Yep. You're going to be looking at him proactively and saying, look, can this guy deliver us a trophy? Can he deliver us regular top 4 places? Yep. And if it's been seen that he can't do that, then I've got no doubt that the powers that be will say, actually, thanks, Eddie, but we want somebody
every manager's
for the money we're spending.
Every manager's got their
tangible results.
Why is it, you are right with that, and that should be the same for every manager. Yeah. But a lot of these guys sometimes are never given a chance. So like Eddie Howe, even when he's come in...
It's a cutthroat business, man.
Even Eddie Howe's come in, you've heard a lot of Newcastle fans saying, well, he's here for now. Well, if he's doing a great job, why should it just be for now? I mean, where are you on it?
He's totally deserved, obviously, to get this summer's transfer budget now, to get the 200, 300 million that we will spend this summer. He's deserved that now. He's warranted that. He's kept us up, hopefully. Looks that way. But the thing is with managers as well, where Newcastle might be looking at, like Laurie says, when you reach a certain level, if the Newcastle owners want to try to break into the top 6 first, top 4, whatnot, there'll be certain players that you might think you might have to change the manager's name to attract. Certain players might not come from abroad, and no disrespect to Eddie Howe, but he's not that worldwide glamour name.
Yeah, but how do you then make, because, all right, for instance, right, in Germany, Nagelsmann. And I remember when he was at RB Leipzig, everybody, Nagelsmann, let's get Nagelsmann. Yeah. Ten Hag at the moment at Ajax.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why is every United fan saying get Ten Hag?
Why is there no
English? Why is he on a better level, or why is he on a bigger level than, say, an English manager who's managing the Premier League?
I think these managers, they get the opportunity to showcase themselves on the Champions League stage. So RB Leipzig will be in the Champions League, Ajax will be in the Champions League. So then they get the opportunity to go up against the best managers in the world on the European stage. Whereas in obviously you get the opportunity in a league game, but Burnley can beat Liverpool at Anfield. No one's going to say Sean Dyche is the next big thing. I think some of these English managers, they may have to go abroad to gain that respect to come back. It may have to go that way for some of them to kind of climb up the ladder. Because it's been... When was the last time an English manager won the Premier League? I mean, it's been ages.
Who would you say is the best British manager?
I would say Eddie Howe.
I think Eddie Howe,
At the minute.
I think Potter is up there.
He's lost his last 6.
Yeah, he's lost his last 6 for sure. But I think even Eddie Howe.
What Eddie Howe did at Bournemouth just goes way under the radar, man. He brought them from the blink of oblivion, bottom of League 2, to the Premier League, and kept them there for nearly 5 years.
Yeah.
What kind of club
building is that?
All
that time.
But then Sean Dyche has done a great job with Burnley. I mean, I know his football's not great, but he's...
Football's awful, but he's... Brexit ball, but he's... but he gets the results.
In all that time, though, he never got a big job. Until now. But he had to get sacked to then come back to it. But what I'm saying is, had that had been Nagelsmann,
You got that fancy German technical
Or Ten
name,
Hag,
like a big
or
Spanish looking.
somebody, you know,
Sexy name.
I heard
Sexy name, isn't it?
people say Ralph Hasenhüttl for United because he won a few games, but not Potter.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. There were some Arsenal fans that were bigging up Potter a while back. Remember?
Bigging him up, but were they saying go and get him?
potentially, because remember when Arteta was struggling,
Yeah.
there were some people, not a million miles from here, not you, but I can speak of some of the people contributors to AFTV, James Bayliss, who were saying that they would take Potter at Arsenal. There were a few,
But Potter plays great football.
but he's lost
But
his
he never
last
get-
6.
Yeah, but he's got a team that's nowhere near as good as Arsenal or nowhere near as good as some of these top teams. But that's what I'm saying. When's he going to get a chance? I just get the feeling that if Potter was, I don't know, Potterini or Pottercino.
Are we including David Moyes in this? I know he's not English.
Yeah.
That's how we started it, because I'm saying
He's
David
Scottish.
Moyes at United never
Got
had a
his
chance, did he? Did he? He didn't really get a
Well,
long...
he had a chance. He
I
didn't
think-
do
No,
that
but he
well.
didn't get a long chance,
No,
did
he
he?
didn't, no.
Before they were like, get him out.
I mean, everyone that was going to take over Fergie
And
was
now
going
look
to
what
do
he's
well.
doing.
But maybe he's a better manager
he's
for
doing
that
now.
experience.
Maybe so, for sure. I think David Moyes obviously going after Sir Alex was a terrible idea. You're never going to be able to go in after Sir Alex. I think anybody that was a poison chalice. Whoever took that job after Sir Alex was doomed. They were 100% going to fail, and it was just about, you know, how long it was going to take them to, you know, because you've got the same group of players. Yeah, you've made a few transfers. You brought in Fellaini when you should have got Fabregas, etc. But you know, you're coming in after a great, and that's a very difficult act to follow, you know. So especially when you haven't won many trophies yourself, you need a Carlo Ancelotti-esque level manager to follow in after Sir Alex, in my opinion, because at least they bring some sort of, you know, pedigree to their name.
It's interesting what you were saying about Frank Lampard. So because some of us, I personally thought that when he got sacked
Yeah.
as Chelsea manager, incidentally, it came after he lost 3-0 to us. But, some of us felt that might have been a bit harsh. You clearly don't think so, do you?
No, I think I was as patient as I possibly could be with him, because he's obviously a club legend and favourite player for Chelsea. But you have to separate player and manager, and he'd lost the dressing room at that point. And I think he hadn't learned as a player under Villas-Boas how he lost the dressing room. He also did a similar thing where a lot of the senior players that he maybe didn't want long term, he's tried to freeze them out. And I think you got to be a bit more meticulous than that. And if you don't like certain players, you got to lie and say that you do, keep them on the side and then wait for the transfer window. Rudiger was one of them. He lost a lot of big, you know, power plays in the dressing room, and tactically as well. We're seeing he's still learning at Everton. You know, he's wide open against Tottenham there the other night. Got absolutely blown away. I did an interview with Begovic and he was speaking about that defence, wide open. Kenny, Holgate, all these guys, you know, defenders. He needs to kind of galvanise that group and put together a proper structure and system. So
Team news is out, yeah, mate. Team news is out for your Chelsea away at Borough.
let's
Chelsea
see.
away at Borough. Just before we do that, West Brom, by the way, they've equalised against Bristol City.
Brucey's
And
West
on
Brom.
Chelsea, Todd Miller, I know is a big Chelsea fan, always contributes in these chats, has said he can't wait for the 20th of April. It can't come fast enough for Chelsea to put Arsenal in the biggest spliff ever. So he's obviously not enjoying all this Arsenal chatter on it. But the team news is out. Let me see if I can get up here on my phone.
Big news
game.
is that Lukaku is starting. Lukaku's up top
It's a
for you
strong
lot.
team, man. They've got a strong team.
I can read out the team if you want for Chelsea.
Yeah, let's go.
Mendy in goal, Aspilicueta. So it's a back four: Aspilicueta, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Malang Sarr left back, Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic in the pivot, with Mason Mount just ahead, Ziyech on the right, Pulisic on the left, and Lukaku up top. So it's a 4-2-3-1.
That's a very strong team.
Very strong team. It has to be a strong team because I mean Middlesbrough are a good team. They knocked out two good teams already, and obviously for Middlesbrough, you're looking at Joe Lanny. I thought that was Ledley from Cardiff.
He's a bit dodgy, that Borough keeper.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a bit shaky.
Fry, Paddy McNair, former Man United defender, I believe. Is it? And Hull City, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Justill, I'm probably going to butcher that. Jones, Crooks, Jonathan Howson, former Norwich guy as well. Talavera, Taylor, obviously your guy. Balogun up top. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And Connolly, Balogun. I don't want to see no goal from Balogun now. Listen, you behave yourself.
Scored a
kid.
worldie the other day.
Listen, they've taken some big scalps, as we know. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
they knocked out Tottenham, knocked out Manchester United. Could they make it 3 Premier League scalps? By the way, I thought you'd be there.
No. Listen, when Dion Sports comes calling, you put it all down. Do you know what I'm saying? And there was only 500 tickets available. I wasn't quite in there.
So you didn't get the joke at all.
I got the joke, but I just completely no, Robbie. I'm not taking it because I know you got the cup there ready to go. No, not.
Save the race. A bit more money. On that, there's all the bids are in now, isn't it?
Yeah, every bid's taken in.
Lots of bids.
Lots of bids. Yeah, deadline was yesterday. There's the Swiss American Consortium Group, Vice, and I think there's Nick Candy. There's the Saudi group that is meant to have got their bid in time. Turkish guy as well. So there's a load. There's probably about 20 or so bids. Some people we don't even know that are not putting their name out in the media. So hopefully it's actually one of them.
What sort of owner do you want?
I want an owner that can afford us because there's a few guys that can't, and they're putting together groups. And I think
Mike Ashley, come on, Mike Ashley,
listen, stop this propaganda with Mike Ashley.
Sports Direct brings
Sports Direct plastered along my stadium.
Did he actually bid?
No, he did not. Of course not. No, well, not that I've heard. Unless he's one of the quiet ones. I'm not trying to see Sports Direct mugs sold instead of fanzines outside the bridge. Only £1. Do you know what I mean?
Just look at that Chelsea top, imagine Sports Direct in the middle of that.
The only Sports Direct we have is the mug in the kitchen. We've all got one, and we leave it at that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, the kind of owner I want is obviously one that first of all can afford us. I don't want anybody coming in, and I don't want to see a group because I think a group is risky because then decision making tends to take longer. There tends to be a lot of profit that they want to make, of course, as well if they've made an investment, and obviously distribution of funds and stuff. It gets complicated. I think if you can first of all buy us and expand that stadium. The stadium is too small. They need to dig down. If they want to stay on that location, they have to expand it and try and get to a 60,000 seat.
Do you think you can fill that every week?
Of course. Of course we can.
Of course they can.
Look at that, such a cheeky comment. Look at you. But if you look at Tottenham can fill it, we can fill it, right? Tottenham, Arsenal. I think you guys. I seen something. We make about 70 million. You make 200 million in terms of revenue from your stadiums. That's the kind of difference.
And a lot of it sometimes is because like those stadiums. Same with Tottenham Stadium. It's by the way, Luton have just gone 3-0 up against Hull.
Wow.
So 3-0 up now.
Away
but like
the
Tottenham Stadium and of course the Emirates Stadium, it's all those corporate boxes they've got.
Yeah.
Those additional corporate boxes that go around twice in the stadium that enables them to earn even more revenue on a match day.
Yeah. So if Chelsea want to be self-sustainable now and not be in debt to a massive owner like we were, then we're going to need a bigger stadium.
And they're going to have to be. I think the days of a Roman Abramovich owner for Chelsea, where someone's going to come and underwrite, are over. I think Chelsea now, whoever these guys come in, are going to be under so much scrutiny that they're going to have to run it. So you do need someone who's going to come in and is going to invest a lot into it.
Yeah.
And like you said, if that includes rebuilding the state, I mean, even Abramovich was finding that
tough.
Yeah,
because we've got the Chelsea pitch owners, and obviously the naming rights. So we do have to stay on that site. If we try to move away, we could be called London Blue. I'm sure Expressions and you have had that joke many a time on the show. And obviously, Stamford Bridge, there's been talks about could we change the name. Etihad sponsored, Emirates sponsored. That's extra revenue. Chelsea fans obviously don't want to do that. So there's a lot going into it. I just think the stadium needs to be expanded, and we also have the second highest wage bill, I think, in the league. With I don't want to go through some of the players that earn some of the money they do, but certain £100 million striker and £47 million forward combined make about 600 grand.
Wow.
Which was all right under Roman Abramovich, but now it's a problem.
Big game for him today, isn't it? He's starting for the first time in a few weeks.
Yeah, he's been on the bench. Yeah, he's been on the bench consistently now for a few weeks, and deservedly so. I think Kai Havertz has been brilliant. He got the last minute goal really against Newcastle. Whether he scored or not, he's still putting good performances, which is the key. And Lukaku, everybody's talking about service, and you guys need to adapt to him. And bro, this is not 3, this is not 0-2. How many 5G, 4G? What do you want service? This is ridiculous.
He got in the air, got scored in the last round.
So tell me, what do you think the Chelsea fans' view of Lukaku is at present?
Some people have accepted the apology. I personally didn't, because I see the PR, I see the the teleprompter behind you reading off of it. I'm not falling for that. Goals, I want to see goals, and you haven't got the goals yet, so I'm still waiting. And if you don't get the goals, for me, he needs to be sold in the summer.
So there is a way back, but he's got to score goals.
Is it a long way back? Big goals are needed. His big game record is not great. He needs to be scoring goals, winning trophies for us. That's the level of goals we're talking about, not just your goals against Luton Town and whatnot. So yeah, he needs to do a lot.
Abdelkader says nonsense. Moyes hasn't finished above any manager at United since he left, right? And JDTV says, guys, I'm ashamed. How did flops like Maguire, Shaw, Pickford, Pope get ahead of Tomori, Kilman, Forster, Johnson? Why Stones instead of Dan Burn?
Yes,
He
big
goes,
Dan Burn.
Opinion, please. And of course, he's talking about the England squad, which was named.
Oh, God.
Let me just. I don't know if you guys have discussed the England
haven't.
squad
We haven't yet.
So let me just talk you through that England squad that was named for the 2 friendlies that are coming up against Ivory Coast and also against Switzerland. Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, who's injured now, so I think he'll be out of the squad. Nick Pope. The defenders, Trent Alexander-Arnold, also injured, so he's out of the squad. Connor Cody, Mark Gay in there. Of course, a Chelsea player, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, he's a Palace, but he was a Chelsea player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was a Chelsea
unfortunately,
player.
no longer with us.
Yeah, he's been doing really, really well this season.
Yeah.
Reece James, Harry Maguire. We'll come back to that one. Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, right? John Stones and Ben White from Arsenal. Midfielders Jude Bellingham, Conor Gallagher, been doing a brilliant
Deserved.
season. Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Declan Rice, James Ward-Prowse, and the forwards, Tammy Abraham, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Raheem Sterling. But of course, a couple of names that are in there have caused a bit of controversy, just like JDTV is saying. The main one being Harry Maguire.
One word to describe that.
It's a
And
disgrace.
that's, apart from that, if you're Gareth Southgate and that's loyalty, he's gone on the record as saying previously that he will stand by players that have played well for England, even if their club form has dipped. Now, it's a question of how much does the form have to dip for them to be out of the team? But that's the only argument you can make for the likes of Maguire and Shaw and people like that.
It is.
still
It's the
being in
classic
squad.
England manager has his England favourites, isn't it? I mean, it's not the summer anymore, Gareth. It's not the Euros. Have you been watching any football this season at all?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why half of that team shouldn't be in there? Tomori at AC Milan has been unbelievable.
unbelievable. Yeah.
He's had to chop and change his partner. He's had 3 different centre-back partnerships. He's guided Milan to the top of Serie A.
Yeah.
He's been amazing, and he's not in the side.
No, I'm, by the way, I'm with you guys. I'm just saying
Oh,
from,
no.
from,
Yeah.
from
He's
his
Well,
perspective.
and plus as well, right? These are friendlies, right? So, do we need to see Maguire?
What do I need to
We
see?
know- what do I need to- we
Maguire
know what
against
he-
Ivory Coast? Like, for real. What do I need to see of Maguire and Luke Shaw on that left hand? I think Luke Shaw should get dragged into this just as much as Maguire.
Luke Shaw's
he has
been
been
awful.
absolutely horrendous on that left
Awful
hand
this
side.
season. Even every Man United fan is like, he's not even playing for United.
Yeah, Tellez has been back in
They've been
recently.
playing tennis.
He's been as bad as Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
So what
yeah.
is he doing in the side?
No idea.
Mitchell at Palace.
Mitchell's
at left.
Palace has
Tyreek
been very
Mitchell,
good. Yeah.
brilliant.
Unbelievable.
I get sometimes you don't want to rotate a squad, like you speaking from the manager's perspective. You do want to keep maybe certain characters, camaraderie you built over the years because you don't get to train with them very often. So you do want to keep some things constant. But like you said, you have to at least have average form to for me the form of both of them have been so poor, and it's not like you don't have other options. You know, you've got Burn who's playing very well, you've got Tomori, you've got Mings is in there again. Like,
Mings,
what?
aye.
Why is Mings in there again? You know,
Poor season.
over someone like maybe Kilman at Wolves, who's had a very good
Kilman's
season.
had a great season.
It's,
Kilman's been
for
class.
me, it's nonsensical, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. I think
Mount
the
deserved
defense
to be
is
in there,
worse. Mount's been very up and down.
Not had a great season.
Yeah, he got an assist in the
other thing
Champions League the other night.
What I look on it as well, right, is that players like Mount, right, it's not to say that you're not going to be at the World Cup.
Yeah.
We know what you can do, right? I mean, maybe Mount's a bad example but somebody like, going back to Maguire,
Yeah.
we know what you can do for England. To be honest, he hasn't let England down when he's played for England. We know what you can do. Luke Shaw, we know what you can do. And you haven't been doing it very well.
Yeah.
So, you know, you give him a call up. You say to him, guys, listen, you're still in my considerations for the squad.
Yeah.
Don't take this personal. But it's, you know, get your head down.
Focus.
Concentrate on your league
Maybe they need a break,
Yeah.
Robbie.
But this
And
is it
then
as well.
we'll have a look at some new guys. I'm supposed to, you know, Tomori comes in and is brilliant.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
what?
and then Mount, we know he's good on his day and whatnot, but you've got like Ramsey at Villa having a great season, six goals. Switzerland, Ivory Coast, couple of friendlies. See what he can do. Give him a chance.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well these players need a break. If they're in horrendous form for their club, maybe give them a little break, and when they come back they might be recharged, and it might be the kick up the arse they need. If you're in poor form for your club and then you miss out on the England squad like a Rashford, surely when you come back to club football now, you know that you need to step up your game seriously, or you're not going to the World Cup. It's great motivation.
Yeah.
From Southgate's point of view, he's looking at, I want to maybe rejuvenate them myself, like this is Fortnite. Bro, why don't you leave them out? Why don't you leave them out and send out a message and say, this isn't good enough. If you don't sort out this club form, you're not going to the World Cup. And that will probably pick it up a lot quicker.
Rashford, he said he gave him a call. Now, what is that?
I'm expecting a statement on that soon.
Is that cool to say the sort of things that you just said? Because I think if it's to say the sort of things that you just said, I agree with it. But if it's just to give him a call to say, don't worry, you'll be back in on the next one. I mean,
Sancho's
like you
not
said, the World Cup was in the Euros were in the summer.
Yeah.
With, lots happened since then.
Move on.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Who would you have had in there that you have not seen in the squad?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it. Tomori, Ramsey, Mitchell,
Kilman maybe?
Kilman, yeah.
Over Mings for sure. I think Kilman's left-footed, isn't he?
Elise.
So if you need Kilman's left-footed, isn't he? If you
Kilman's
need a left-footer,
left-footed,
then that comes in for Mings.
I think Elise can play for 4 countries.
I think he's also. I think he's in the French under-21s right now. So he can go France, he can go Algeria, he can go England and somewhere else. So Algeria. So
Nigeria.
Is it Nigeria as well?
Yeah,
so that's the
Alicia.
Okay, right. Yeah, Alicia, yeah.
Yeah.
I think his
Nigeria.
dad is Nigerian and his mum is Algerian.
Okay, right. So he's got the picking.
But I mean, he's excited a lot of people this season.
Yeah.
Patrick Vieira speaks glowingly about him.
Alexander says here, Walker Peters.
Walker Peters, yeah.
Another great
he's
example, yeah. 100%.
He's had to shift to left back, originally a right back. He's had a fantastic season at Southampton.
Yeah.
At least he's picked more process.
Ted to Tim says Tomori, Dan Burn, and Kilman deserves call up. You've seen Dan Burn week in, week out.
Fantastic, brilliant, absolute solid as a rock at the back. Dan Burn, 6'7", still pretty comfortable on the ball, head has everything out, so reliable, still decent understanding technical things as well. He's a very good player. Southgate never picks Newcastle players, so didn't even mention.
That's because you haven't been very good usually.
He will be soon. Matt Target.
he has picked Callum Wilson, though, hasn't he?
When he was at Bournemouth.
Matt Target has been suggested as well.
Matt Target, yeah, he's had a good season.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I think Sancho might be a bit unlucky. I think he's been one of Man United's only good attackers. He wasn't, but with the attack, at least you can say everybody in there deserves to be there. You know, Smith Rowe, Saka, yeah.
So.
But I agree with you, Robbie.
JDTV.
I think this was an opportunity. No disrespect to Ivory Coast and Switzerland, but this was an opportunity for the manager, because they're friendly at the end of the day, against opposition that, let's face it, we should be able to compete with. So this was a perfect opportunity to take a look at some of those guys that may have flown under the radar, like Tomoris and Byrne and 1 or 12 people. Give them a chance, see how they do.
By the way, Reading have scored. That's a big goal for Reading. Of course, they're in relegation trouble in the Championship. They have scored. They're now leading Blackburn, of course, who are trying to get into those, spaces to get up to the Premier League. They're beating Blackburn by 1-0. So big goal for Reading. I think I saw Derby are drawing at the moment. Yeah, Paul Ince, of course, the manager there. And Shrewsbury have just gone 2-0 up against Rotherham. JDTV says even Libramento didn't get a shout with England.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me as much because he's predominantly down the right-hand side. I think when you've got James, Trent, Walker, who wasn't in this squad but will probably be in the World Cup squad, Trippier as well when he's back from injury. We know Southgate loves Trippier. There's probably not much room for Livramento at this stage of his career as a young teenager, but when Trippier and Walker get on in age, then there might be some room. So I'm not really too worried or fussed about that. He's still got things to improve. He's very young.
Billy Ferraldi says Harvey Barnes.
He's been out injured a bit, hasn't he? Sometimes.
Yeah, but he's been good this season when he's been playing.
Yeah, very good season.
But I think in that forward area, there's just it's too much. Too
congested.
Too
Where
congested.
is Bowen? I think Bowen might have had a shout.
Yeah,
he's injured, though, isn't he? He's injured at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think Bowen probably would have been in there, actually.
Yeah, I think he would have been.
Yeah, I think Bowen had
Andrew Nicholas Smith says Dan Burn is shite. How could people say he's good? It's crazy.
Is that a bit of Brighton fan there, isn't it?
Oh, is he a Brighton fan, is he?
I don't know.
After six defeats in a row, he's starting to get edgy now.
Look at Brighton since Burn left. 6 defeats in a row. Look at Newcastle, went 9 unbeaten.
I can't wait until this man and the whole Geordie fan base is at the top, because they're gonna be a wind up, and I love it. I can't wait for it already. I can tell.
Coming in. defeat the other night. Leeds
Back to
last
back,
night.
back to back.
Coming back from the dead. Did you see that game?
I didn't watch it, but
I didn't see it last
yeah.
night. It was
What a
2.
game.
I was out last night. It was
Let
2.
me tell you
2-0,
something.
and I thought, lovely.
Let me tell you
thought they
something.
were
That
gone.
game last night proves why the Premier League is the best league in the world. By the way, Bristol City 2-1 up now against West Brom.
Final
It
score.
proves what an amazing game. 2-0 down, dead in the water.
Yeah.
Referee sends off the Wolves player, and then they come back and win 3-2. Did you watch the game?
I didn't get to see it, but Wolves are a good team. So I
I've
seen
never
the score
sent it
2-0
off
and I
for
said,
me.
okay, that's done. It's game over.
Yeah,
Right?
and if you watch the game, it was so one-sided. The most one-sided 2-0 you ever seen. I was actually flicking over the TV. I was like, let me see what that Bundesliga game's saying.
Yeah.
I switched onto that. That would be abandoned because they've thrown a beer at the linesman. They hit him in the back of his head. Yeah. The Borussia Mönchengladbach Bochum game. So that's when I switched back on, just to see Jimenez get red carded. And a
Terrible
game
decision,
that was
by the
so one-sided just completely turned on his head. It was a shocking decision, in my opinion.
When you think as well that, like you said, that game turned on that decision, if
It
you're
did.
a Wolves fan or a Wolves player and manager, you've got to be very upset with that because
And if you're
there was
Watford,
no
Norwich,
way that was a sending off offence.
Yeah.
No way.
By the way, engineers, I do need another iPad. This one's just
That one's
died
been
on me.
dying,
I blame it all on Alex.
I was going to say as
You know
well,
what
they were quickly going to pivot to, obviously you got a Formula 1 show tomorrow covering the Bahrain Grand Prix, and I'm a massive Formula 1 fan. That lineup there for qualifying on the screen right in front of us,
Yep.
Leclerc in first for the grid tomorrow, Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, and then Hamilton. Wow, what a race we got tomorrow. It's going to be crazy when you
I
guys cover
know
that.
you're a big F1 fan.
Yeah,
aren't you?
massive, of course.
Well,
Massive
yeah.
Hamilton fan after everything that happened last season.
Yeah.
I'm still not quite over it, but
I'm
I'm
not
trying
over it.
to forget.
Spectacularly
Trying to move
shafted.
on, yeah.
But they're saying that the car this season is not quite up to it.
I think in the practice sessions I'm seeing, it definitely looks like Mercedes, have maybe been not as quick as usual, but I do think they're potentially going to improve as time goes on because they'll get used to the car. They'll start to make a few little changes here and there, but that is quite low down for Hamilton. I'm guessing Russell
Fifth.
must be down below,
Yep, he's in
down there
fifth.
as well. So, but yeah, Leclerc, Ferrari looked good.
Ferrari looked very good this season.
Lovely car on them as well.
I'm
New
looking
car.
forward to it. We're doing a watch along here on DR Sports with me and Matty. Not this Matty. The
They won. Right, you need to find another
only
name.
one.
You need to find another name for him.
Geordie Matty. Right, but we've got a big watch along to it tomorrow, so make sure you check it out. Matisse, I know you're really into F1, aren't you?
I love it. Absolutely love it. It's a great
love it as
sport.
well.
People don't. I think people are going to start to see how great this sport is. Obviously, I was watching Drive to Survive, which they've started on Netflix every single year as well to cover it. Like we saw the drama last year. Now I nearly fell out of love with the sport a little bit, and I'm sure like maybe traditional older boxing fans will be the same when they see the new guys come into the sport. When you see like your rules and regulations played with for what is actually strictly meant to happen, not for the entertainment purposes of letting one final lap go, then you start to question things. But it looks hopefully this season they've
and
changed it around a bit.
they've changed up the cars this year, so there should be more
yeah.
overtaking.
Yeah.
The cars look a bit different. Every because normally all the cars look exactly the same. They don't. The Ferrari looks a lot different.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. You like F1, mate?
I've just started getting into it actually last year. Never really been a big fan, but trying to get into it. But just finding time in the day to watch all these sports, man. So I like golf, I like basketball, I like the NBA, I like boxing, UFC. So
Wow.
yeah.
Just watch them all, innit?
Full plate.
Well, they've only not enough time in the day.
You like F1?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I must say though, since Hamilton come on the scene, it's been more enhanced. But yeah, I love it, man. I love watching it. I'm still trying to get to grips with some. I might have to chat with Matisse.
Yeah, for sure.
Take you through some of the
The
technical
Drive to
finer
Survive. If you watch
points.
that Drive to Survive, it does help you a lot
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
to
100%.
sort of understand the sport.
Stick that on tonight then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm
There's a
looking
lot of
forward to
episodes
it.
though.
Actually, I would because the UFC's on me.
So if you ain't got no time to watch anything, right, now you're going to watch about 20 episodes of Drive to Survive.
I might catch up with F1 next year. Then.
Yeah, it's not possible. Yeah.
There is
2024
UFC on
season.
tonight, by the way, and a lot of sport on this weekend.
It's boxing on
Paddy the
tonight,
Baddy.
Yeah.
Paddy the Baddy's going to do it again. Going to do the business in the O2.
It's actually here in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the O2 in London.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Paddy the Baddy's going to annihilate him, I think, in that first round win.
Yeah.
Yeah, another first
First
round.
round,
Paddy.
wow.
Yeah.
We've got here, I know you love your UFC, right? And I know you're ready for, obviously, you love your boxing. which sport is better?
UFC.
Boxing or UFC?
Boxing, hands
Right.
down.
Now
Right,
UFC, boxing used to be.
We're going to do a vote
Hands
on it.
down.
Guys, get a vote up. Right, we're going to do a vote on it. But I'm going to allow both of you, right, I'm the judge here, both of you to put your case. Let's start with you first, Matty. Tell us why UFC is better than boxing.
Because UFC make the fights that the fans want to see. We see the best people come up against each other time and time again. There's an event every week pretty much. There's always entertainment. You always see the best come up against the best. It's always a complete blood sport, complete battle. There's no hugging, no boring shit happening. Boxing, we just seen Conn versus Brook not long ago. That would have been brilliant if it was 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? These things take too long to happen in boxing. I love boxing, grew up watching it. But for me, lately, we just don't get to see it, and we're seeing it now. Like, I'm looking forward to the Fury versus Dillian White fight.
Yeah.
But that should have been Fury AJ like 2 years ago. See him again.
Fury
You know what I
Usyk.
mean? The big fights just don't happen often enough in boxing. And now the biggest name in boxing is a bloody YouTuber. That was the dagger right there.
Oh, right, Laurie, come on, put your case.
Wow, that's tough.
I would start by saying I will concede to you that is the problem you've highlighted with boxing about the best not fighting the best. That's been a problem now for years, and it seems to be, if anything, be getting worse. But what I would say, part of the reason why that is because boxing, with respect, is a much more bigger, more global sport than UFC, with much more participants. I mean, UFC is quite tiny compared to boxing, believe it or not, in terms of the participants. It's run by Dana White, who I would describe as a sort of, how can I put it, a sort of benign dictator, if you like. Yeah? But with boxing, it's a lot more global, a lot more widespread, a lot more boxers, a lot more competitions, a lot more titles. So the politics runs way deeper. That being said, boxing is a traditional sport. It's, listen, man, it's a much better sport to watch. With UFC, we saw it the other day with the Masvidal, Kobe Covington, a fight that's supposed to be the fight of the year, you know what I mean? And it was boring. It was basically 25 minutes of two guys in briefs, rolling around, semi-naked, hugging each other, man. You know what I mean? That's not entertaining.
It's not your good Saturday night plan.
Yeah, it's not for me, man. No, and listen, I do like UFC, and I'm growing to like it more. But it's not a patch on boxing, bro. And boxing's a lot more technical. It's better. It's just a better sport all round. That being said, I do like UFC.
All right, I tell you what, it's got the chat going crazy. Right, UFC easy, Queensby rules. UFC is ugly for madheads. Boxing is more skilled. MMA is better overall, not UFC. UFC is an organisation.
Well, yeah, mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts. Tender Tim says, in the Philippines, when Pacquiao fights in boxing, the whole country stops, like how England stops to watch the Euro final. It's that big.
True, although Pacquiao has now retired. But yeah.
I like the skill factor of boxing, says Rai Relio. But this guy here says MMA. It's really split. We've done a poll on it. What is it? 55% of you so far are going UFC, 45% boxing. We'll keep that poll going.
I'd like to see the age group of that, because I would imagine there are a lot younger people who are going for UFC. But boxing is a more traditional sport, so, you know what I mean, if you speak to people in different age groups, older age, I would say boxing. 99% of them are going to say boxing.
UFC is a very new sport as well.
Yeah.
Right? It was only founded. The UFC organisation founded in, 2005?
Huller pulled one back.
Huller pulled one back.
West Brom with a late equaliser as well, 93rd minute. 2-2 away to Bristol City. Steve Bruce's baggies.
Steve Bruce is turning it on. Here he comes. Dave Goose 91 says, AC Milan fan here. Robbie, thank Matisse for Tomori. He's a beast and gives his hole for the shirt. Plus Chelsea are losing all their centre-backs for free. How ironic.
Stupid, right? You know, Tomori to AC Milan, you know, he played at Chelsea already under Lampard. We knew he was going to be a good player, but unfortunately he got froze out because we had too many centre-backs. Guehi to Palace, now captain in their team quite consistently sometimes. He's in the England squad. We knew he was going to be good. The only saving grace is Levi Colwell, who's at Huddersfield, playing very well. Teenager, great centre back. If we keep him, then I might be able to cope with the pain of the other two. But if we don't, then I'm gonna be distraught, really, to be honest. And Christensen going to Barcelona, and Rudiger still not signed. So a lot of quality, man, out the window for not a lot of money in coming. So it's not good.
You're
But
talking. You sound like an Arsenal fan at the moment.
I know, because you guys lost all your players for free.
It's
You
a
lost
real world you're coming to now. It's now coming to the real world.
Listen,
no more
I will never be-
Roman Abramovich just writing a check
No more
and
FIFA
say,
career modes.
I will never know what it feels like to be an Arsenal fan, because I've got 2 European Cups, 2 stars, all right, and that we will always have, no matter what
I don't know, they
happens.
might take them away as well.
Nah. Even if we become the next Nottingham Forest, we're still singing those songs.
Be careful then. You might end up like Forest. Champions of Europe. And then people thinking, were you?
Oh man! But to weigh in also on the UFC and boxing, I agree with both your points, because I remember I wanted Mayweather and Pacquiao to fight all those years, and they never fought until Pacquiao was over the hill. But I do prefer boxing just slightly. I remember
Just
that.
slightly?
Nah, just a decent amount.
Think of the tradition of boxing as, man. You're going
of
way
course.
back.
That fight for me,
You know what I
when boxing reached its pinnacle, I will always choose boxing over it, because I think boxing's pinnacle can sometimes be incredible. Like I remember that Joshua Usyk fight not so long ago. That was a great fight.
Well, look at last
That was a
week's
brilliant
fight. I don't know if you saw the fight last week. Potential fight of the year. Michael Conlan and Lee
great
Wood.
fight.
Great things about this,
Literally
actually,
a last-minute knockout. The guy came from behind on points.
That was
to knock
amazing.
the-
I did see that as well.
Yeah.
You
What
don't
about-
get.
what
I'm
about the
not being
judge-
funny, right? But you very rarely see UFC fights that are anywhere close to that entertainment-wise. You do see one-sided beatdowns, and you do get the odd dramatic knockout. But most of the time, when a fight goes over 25 minutes, because of rounds, 5-minute rounds, 5-minute rounds, invariably, I've got to say this, they're not very entertaining. Because they involve a lot of wrestling.
It depends how you view the skill set, because these guys are elite athletes. They're doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh no, they're
doing
elite
wrestling.
athletes. Yeah,
So, I mean,
absolutely.
We can say they're rolling around and stuff, but it is still very technical. And it is hard.
When you're at UFC, what's the best skill to have? Is it wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or having a big punch?
I think the big punch still always wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Really,
does,
the big
yeah.
punch still always
Yeah,
wins.
yeah.
But the point of MMA, UFC, is to have a mix of all three. Really, isn't it? You need you kind of just be one, because then that's how you get called out. Like McGregor.
But
he's
most
just
of
a
them
straight
seem
guy.
to always have one standout.
Well, the most standout UFC fighter in recent years, I mean, you could make a case for Usman now as being Khabib, and Khabib was
Wrestler.
very much a wrestler, wasn't
Yeah.
he? He wasn't that great on the stand-up.
No.
And he retired unbeaten, so
Unbeaten,
he's
yeah.
like
If
the
Khabib gets you
flagship
down, it's a
guy.
wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got to be said, even Khabib's fights, I saw a
So
lot
I
of them,
agree
they
with you
weren't
to
that,
that.
very,
I
they
agree
weren't that
with you.
entertaining. man.
Nah, Khabib was boring
Even
to
the
watch.
Conor McGregor fight, that was a massive fight for years, wasn't that?
Yeah.
Whereas boxing, like
You've had some mad
that
fights.
Fury versus
Wilder.
those
Yeah.
were entertaining fights.
Yeah,
you
man,
know
it
what I
was.
mean?
It was.
The big boys banging away. I mean, even the fight the other day, even though they should have had that fight years ago, but it was an entertaining fight, wasn't it? The one, with Amir Khan.
The
and
problem
Kell
with
Brook.
boxing for me is that there's too many belts and too many divisions.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the judges can be really dodgy, as we've seen a
that's
couple of
true.
weeks ago with that fight where he
That's for
clearly,
sure.
clearly won. But yeah,
That was the Jack Catterall versus Josh Taylor fight.
Yeah, and
that
it's
was a
just-
scandal.
it's absolute
That was a
scandal.
scandal.
And
But I mean, let's be honest. Okay, so your UFC guys are getting all hyped up tonight. UFC, Lana, bro, like there's big shows like that in boxing every single week. There's a big show of boxing tonight in Dubai. You know what I mean? There's shows all over the place. Boxing is a global entity. With fighters, you know what I mean, all over the world from all different places. And
Hold
it's
on,
tight.
that fight in Dubai tonight as well.
No, but it's
Maybe
big in
that's a
Dubai
bit
though.
like, bit like what Matty's talking about though. That's another sort of
No, there's some good fights on that card.
YouTube-esque type fight, isn't it?
Yeah, but
where
this-
you got two big
This
guys just they're not proper boxers, are they?
Okay, but
this
listen,
is the
Tyson
Thor fight,
Fury
actually. Is
versus
that tonight, the Thor fight?
Yeah.
Versus Dillian White.
That
Would be
is
good.
Tyson Fury, Dillian White, 90,000 tickets. So UFC can't match that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like those heavyweight clashes are undeniable, and they're amazing. So, but there's just not enough of them.
That being said, though, like I said, I'm trying not to be too snobbish because over the years, I've tried to get into UFC and I do like watching it, but it just doesn't compare to boxing.
Polls are closing in on that. It's still UFC
skewed
52%. A skewed
I want
poll.
to see the demographics of that poll. I would imagine all those guys who voted are all under the age of
Now that is
25, 30.
You're sounding very bitter. Now you got to allow the people to Let's run through some of the results. I got a lot of results from the Championship. Derby 1, Coventry 1. Sheffield United 2, Barnsley 0. Bristol City 2, West Brom 2, so Brucey pulled it back. Huddersfield 0, Bournemouth 3. Big win for Bournemouth.
I had a drawn with predictions, sure, didn't
I? Oh, that's why you're looking at it like that. You did.
Oh, that's not good.
Hull versus Hull 1, Luton 3.
Big win for Luton.
Now, Reading, the game hasn't finished yet, but it'll be a big result for Reading. They're winning 1-0. It has been finished now. That is a result. Reading 1, Blackburn 0. Stoke 2, Millwall 0. And Swansea 0, Birmingham 0. Going into League One is Cambridge 0, MK Dons 1. They're flying at the moment, they are. Charlton 2, Burton 0. Cheltenham 3, Wimbledon 1. Currently Crewe 0, Bolton 1. The game's going into injury time there. Fleetwood 0, Doncaster 0. Gillingham 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Lincoln City 0. Sunderland 0, Oxford 1. You want them back? I know you want them back.
I do.
Ipswich 1, Plymouth 4, Accrington 0, Portsmouth 0, Wickham 0, Rotherham 0, Shrewsbury 3 currently, and that is a result now. Wigan 4, Morecambe 1, and into League 2, Barrow 1, Carlisle 2, Bradford 1, Port Vale 2, Crawley 3, Swindon 1, Harrogate 1, Walsall 1, Leyton Orient 3, Rochdale 1, Mansfield versus Stevenage was postponed, Northampton 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Oldham 0, Exeter 2, Salford 5, Scunthorpe 1, and Sutton United 1, Tranmere 1. Those are the results from the leagues. Let's go into the Championship and just look at the table there, because obviously I know, what was it? I forgot his name now. You had the Bournemouth fan in there last week. Ollie. So he'll be interesting to see how that, because that's a big win.
Big win for them. It's a solidifying second place, really, isn't
Second place for them. Now 6 points ahead of Luton, who now move into third place.
Third place, Luton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fulham still top, played 37 on 77 points. Bournemouth played a game less, 69 points, a massive win for them today. Luton have played 38 games, 63 points, so firmly in the playoff places. Bad defeat for Huddersfield, but they're still on 63 points, played 39. Sheffield United played 38 on 61. And Blackburn, that was a bad defeat for them today, but they're still in the playoff zone, but played 39 on 61. And, you know, you've got teams like Middlesbrough, QPR below them. They've played 2 less and are just a couple of points below them.
Forest as well, 3 games in hand.
Yeah.
3 games in hand for Forest. And then moving into the relegation zone, Derby now dropped to second from bottom on 25 points. Peterborough and bottom on 23 points. Barnsley on 28 points, but a huge win for Reading today. They're on 33 points. That now takes them 5 points clear of the relegation zone. And that was huge for them today. They played a game less than Derby as well. So big win for them today. And of course, we're looking forward to the games, the FA Cup game that's coming up. Middlesbrough against Chelsea. We didn't get your predictions. Did we get predictions earlier?
We did on predictions earlier. Yeah, I think I went with a 2-1 Chelsea win, but it's going to be tough.
2-1?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Middlesbrough, good team. They're knocked out.
The confidence was really gone out of Chelsea fans.
It's just, you know, I don't know what kind of plane. I don't know what plane they travelled on, Robbie. It could be an easy jet. It could be Ryanair. Could be a couple kids kicking Kai Havertz at the back. You know, you never know. So it's not necessarily going to be pretty. But hopefully we get through it.
And there's obviously 3 more FA Cup games tomorrow. Palace versus Everton. That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, we
Palace,
spoke about that.
Yeah, Palace flying high. Everton with that great goal the other night by Iwobi. Who did you guys go for in that one?
Palace, yeah.
Palace. Yours for Palace.
Yeah, we was. I was saying that, you know, Vieira's done, in my opinion. Well, we all agreed, didn't we, that he's done a fantastic job so far at Palace. And we was saying it's kind of opening up for them to have a good cup run, because we think that Everton will be preoccupied with their league position, which they're very precariously positioned at the moment. So they'll probably rest a few players. Whereas Vieira, let's face it, Palace are not going to qualify for Europe. They're not going to go down, so they'll be able to throw everything at this game.
Yeah.
So we're going for Palace.
By the way, just going back to the boxing, the poll is actually 50. 50.
Older voters, get your votes in, because anyone over 30 is definitely going to vote for boxing. So, come on.
Swaying that poll so quickly.
Jay Rigby, just probably on your demographic thing, he says, Jay Rigby 90 says, boxing made paper off of KSI and Logan Paul. Especially Logan, because he fought against Mayweather.
No, but even that, when you think about it, tells its own story, innit? So the YouTube guys have honed in on boxing, not UFC. Why do you think that is?
Probably because they get beaten up more.
In UFC, they would lose
UFC. No, but you know, you've got to start from somewhere.
Yeah. In UFC, they would not be safe at all.
You get
No, but you learn it,
Paul
don't
have
you?
brain
You
damage
learn
by
it.
now.
I wouldn't trust
UFC.
him. I wouldn't trust him in UFC. I think at least in boxing, because do you know what? The one thing I will say that I didn't like in that fight with Mayweather is it was very clear that Mayweather caught him and he held him up. He held him up there and he kept that fight going. I didn't like that. But of course, they needed it to go all the way to the wire, so they both maybe get paid. I don't know what it was.
JVTV
That was more
says,
entertainment.
Yeah,
rather
Ali
than
versus Fraser, greatest match ever in boxing times. Going back to
Name me a couple of great UFC fights that could even compare to anything. Just name them. You can't, can you?
All of the McGregor ones.
That will stand the test of time.
But even McGregor went to boxing.
No, but I'm serious though. Name me a couple of UFC fights that in 10, 20, 30 years' time people will be saying, yeah, man, Justin Gaethje versus, you know what I mean, like Khabib, or you can't, because it's just not on that level.
You're swaying them voters quickly.
He's trying to get that vote. He's trying to get the vote.
That 51% watch. Next up.
I'm waiting for you to name it.
Well, the UFC's still young, man. You know, it's only been going 5, 10
You're losing it, mate. You're losing it. You're losing it.
He's only saying that because
come in
boxing
time,
in the
it'll come in
northeast is
time.
taking a bit of a battering. Your boy Ritson been beaten a
Oh,
few
mate,
times.
that was disappointing, wasn't it? He was meant to be
there's
the
no
next big
real
thing.
stars in Newcastle at the moment. Am I
We've got
right?
Aaron Chalmers, who's staying to Sky Sports.
I'll tell you what, you have got a couple of guys. You've got a couple of guys, right? Keep an eye on these guys. Luke McCormack and Pat McCormack. They're both from the Newcastle area, and they represented, especially Pat McCormack. Keep an eye on that name, yeah. He represented Britain in the Olympics. I think he got bronze, but he's proper good.
Oh, I'll try and look them up. Get them on the Magpie channel.
Proper good. Pat McCormack. Yeah.
All right. Back here on the Saturday Boxing Show. No, listen, everybody's into football, loves boxing, loves UFC, so it's great. With the Southampton City, what you all went City, right?
Yeah.
I went for a big city win.
No, I went with Southampton. Yeah, I went for the shock.
Southampton got that draw against
They did. They're the one that stopped the run, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I went for the shock. Yeah, of Southampton. Yeah,
Forest Liverpool.
I went with Forest.
Draw.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why?
I just think there'll be a shock, and I didn't want to go against Chelsea, so I had to go against the other two. And Forest are they're a good team. You know, they're a good team, and they've knocked out Arsenal, haven't they? So,
Yep.
and I think
And Leicester.
Liverpool will have
Leicester as
priorities
well.
elsewhere. Yeah.
Leicester
yeah.
destroyed Leicester.
Yeah, so-
destroyed us as well, really.
And I think Liverpool might rotate as
I
well.
think
So
there'll
you
be
never
many
know.
changes Liverpool. I think that'll be a draw, and then I could see
Yeah, but
Forest
have you
doing it
seen
next time.
Liverpool's squad recently? It's
Yeah,
not like the Liverpool
it's not
of
like
old.
yeah.
When they make changes now, you know what I mean, they bought Salah off the bench the other night. We
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
we bought an Eddie Nketiah. They bought Salah.
That's a big gulf in it. But Alex was saying who he thinks is going to play tomorrow, and he was mentioning loads of youngins. He's mentioned Minamino starting,
Jones will
Origi,
probably play.
Harvey
Yeah, but
Elliott.
Minamino's no mug, is he?
Yeah, but
Harvey
I
Elliott's
think
quality player.
yeah, I still think Forest can compete though.
I think with
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, in their stadium, with all their fans,
Sell
there,
out
that
crowd.
place would be buzzing.
City
yeah,
ground.
absolutely
If,
will,
if you're
absolutely
slipping,
will.
you don't want to play them.
No.
You don't want to play them.
They're on form as well, you know. Forest are putting.
I think one
Anyway,
thing
the poll has been completed, and Laurie, I can tell you that your persuasive arguments has just swayed it 51% in
started off
favour
strong.
of boxing to 49 of UFC.
He's on his phone, Robin,
Matty started strong. He absolutely dragged boxing through the mud on the first argument, and then Laurie just came back. So
Let's do this poll again after the Fury of Dillian White fight, and I'll see you see
That will
different
be an
results.
unreal
yeah.
fight.
And just going into, back into the football, there was a couple of Premier League games to be played tomorrow. Tottenham, West Ham, you all gone Tottenham, basically.
Yeah.
And Leicester, Brentford.
oh,
That's a close
Big game for
actually.
Brentford still.
Brentford on good form. Tony on the goals.
I
I go 2-2.
I'll go a draw as well. Yeah, I think Brentford will dig in there.
You know what? I'm gonna go for Brentford in this one.
Wow.
Because
the
of
goals.
they're on a decent little run. Leicester,
On the beach.
again, one of these teams, they're not really playing for that much. The form's up and down.
They had a game during the week as well, Leicester, didn't they?
I think
But I think
Brentford.
Leicester at home, I think I'll go for Leicester.
I think Brentford could get something, man. Christian Eriksen factor.
Yeah.
Tony's scoring again, and plus they badly need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going Brentford.
Okay, Matrix says UFC has the best matchups week to week, not in boxing.
I was
Week
right
to
when you said
week. Come on now, that's
Sure,
clearly not
and,
true.
Agent E said the poll was rigged. Anyway, listen,
And
guys.
you got sorry, just quickly, you've got to factor into this. What when something's new, people will ride with it, won't they? You know what it's like. It's factual. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But as I said before, will it stand the test of time? In 10, 15, 20 years' time, we will be talking about UFC and these guys. You might be talking about Conor McGregor because he's a larger-than-life character. But will you be talking about it in the same kind of...
Well, it's a great
There's
sport.
always the next guy. Then look at Paddy the Baddy's the next guy.
Yeah.
We hope so, don't we? With these
Yeah, but he's not
characters.
really achieved anything yet, has he?
No, but that'll hopefully be his path. But
Paddy
he's
the
the
Baddy.
character. He is
Yeah,
the
he's a
character.
That sounds like a WrestleMania kind of Paddy the Baddy.
Well, anyway, listen, that UFC's on tonight, but if you like your F1, don't forget to check out our watch along tomorrow to the first Grand Prix of the year in Bahrain. We're going to have to get you on one of these watch alongs, Matisse.
Yeah, for sure. For
Right?
sure.
Me and Matty are going to be the other Matty. Not the Geordie one, the other Matty. We're going to be in the studio and we're going to be doing a watch along to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Should be really interesting. Leclerc, of course, in Ferrari on pole, Verstappen just behind him. So make sure you check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe here to DR Sports. I want to thank everybody who's been here today on the show. Bigging up to Alex, who's probably hopping onto a flight right now to go and sun himself with Marrakesh. We're going all over the globe. bloody hell.
Tenerife first and Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope it
Actually, no.
rains. I hope it's raining Tenerife.
As I was saying, actually, I'm not bigging you up. You know what I mean? Pissed off and
sunbed.
jealous. Right, but listen, big up to you, Matty.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very
another
much.
great job done.
man.
Matisse.
Pleasure,
I know
as
you're
always.
nervous ahead of the game tonight.
Yeah, of
but,
course.
big up to you as well. And also thank you to Laurie. Thank you to
been a
Jason,
pleasure. Thanks.
Hassan, all of the production team. And thank you to you guys who tune into the show every week, the Saturday Football Show. No Saturday Football Show next week, Saturday, because obviously there's hardly any games on because of the international break. But we'll be back the following week. Premier League will be back, loads of games. Matty AGT will be here as well. So it's going to be massive. So make sure you check it out. But like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.